Hello and welcome everybody to the TRACKILICIOUS Sunday GT3 and Porsche Cup Support Series. I'm Mike Nause, late in the booth today. Hope everyone's having a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. We are hot into the race already, so I'm going to waste no time and no introductions and get on into that, as apologies to everyone for being late. We are about 8 minutes into this session already. We have Vadik Kudsitsiev leading us with Nicholas Lima in second and Hubert I'm so sorry, I apologize, Hubert, the Polish driver in P3, Lucas Lichten in fourth, and Andre Alex Afonso in a battle with Brandon Pfeiffer in sixth. This is race one, of course, of two tonight, or maybe even of three if I think it is a doubleheader in the GT3 race. Massive apologies, of course, to all the Porsche Cup drivers. I do genuinely apologize. We are a little late here today. Welcome, Malcolm, in chat. But like I say, let's just skip everything and pretty much get on into it. A little different, of course, than what we're used to, but hey, it is my fault here. So let's pop on into the session. You can hear those Porsche Cup engines revving away and see where we are in terms of positions. With Vadik battling, actually Vadik about 3.5 seconds away from this battle between Nicholas Lima, the Brazilian driver, and the Hubert Pastuska in P3, side-by-side action, a little bit of rubbing as they head on through Sector 1. Hungaroring, a very tricky track and a tough one at that to overtake. Not too many opportunities we're going to be seeing here tonight, so the driver is going to be trying to grab it with both hands. As they come on now into this is probably the toughest part of the track here, into what is the beginning of Sector 3, at least right at the end of Sector 2. The snaking S sector where it's so easy to drift just slightly wide, pick up a track limits penalty, and end up with a drive-through a little bit later on in the race. But as we have it, we're only 8 minutes in. I see a few invalid laps already. Nicholas Lima picking up one this time around. That doesn't mean that it was a track limits warning. But here at Hungaroring, it typically is more than likely. Very easy to drift wide through a lot of the corners. And we see already Lucas Lichten coming into his pit stop. Going to go early. One mandatory pit stop tonight with 25-second fixed fueling and 5 additional seconds for tires. I do not think anyone will be taking tires, but you never know. As we also have it a bit further down the field, I'm not sure if it's true, but I thought I saw Jacob Church leading at one point in this race, but I'm not sure. I think that might have just been when I joined. I think race control said speeding in the pits. Is that for the stop-go 30? For Rally Dutchy. With a lot of damage on the front end of that Porsche as well. Not looking at quite street, or well, not optimal in terms of the aerodynamics. Yes, sir? Okay. Yeah, that would explain it. An easy penalty as well, not practicing your pit stops. Let's say it for the first time and of many tonight. Practice your pit stops, everybody, as it is extremely important. At least putting in 5 beforehand, as I always say. But as we have it, Brandon Pfeiffer battling along with Andre Alex Afonso in P4. Interestingly, 23 seconds behind, not Brandon Pfeiffer, but Will Stewart, who's 5 seconds back, is 23 seconds behind Jonathan Kelly. So quite a large spread there already being developed. 24 seconds to Will Stewart in front. We'll see if that continues. Of course, we are also live over on Pitwall. If you guys are interested, !Pitwall. You can find all of the juicy data over there. The Hungaroring will provide plenty of it. The only thing it will not provide plenty of is, well, straight line speed in terms of a long speed trap. 245 kph these cars are going to be topping out at down that start-finish straight here. It's only about a half-mile long. Actually, it's a half mile. It's just over a half-mile long. It's actually a bit longer than I expected. Of course, this track, 2.7 miles with 14 corners, 6 to the left, 8 to the right, and 35 meters of elevation change. It is tough at the best of times, nevertheless, when you're battling in these Porsche Cup cars with no traction control. I think that was a back marker there of, I'm not sure who, but Devin Anthony is who that was. And Hubert going to be still chasing Lima down. Tight battle here in P2 between those two Porsches. Of course, they're all Porsches tonight. This is the Porsche Cup Support Series. Later on tonight will be our GT3 main event. Brandon Pfeiffer has also came up into the ring here. Now just a second behind Andre Alex Afonso, also lapping quite a bit quicker. Oh my goodness, and it's happened immediately. This is amazing. One Bigley should be in the race right now, but he's in the pit stop and dropping a $10 donation. Thank you very much, Jacob Church. You're an absolute legend. But you gotta be, what are you doing? Is that during your stop or are you out? Apologies that I missed the start there, Jacob. I saw that you were in P1. Was that my timing charts lying to me? I feel that may have been, but hey, you never know. And Pastuska in P3 with Lima. These four drivers definitely going to be the highlight of currently. Jacob does rock, Snoopy. You're absolutely right. If you guys are interested in this send there from Brandon Pfeiffer onto the back marker, never mind. That was Devin Anthony, who's making a move on to. But if you guys are interested in supporting us here at TRACKILICIOUS, we have a donation link down in the description, as well as a Patreon page. All the Patreon members' names up on screen currently. A massive shout out to you guys for supporting us, all of our V12 exotics, as well as V8 muscles and inline fours. You guys are incredible. Let's leave those up for a second. Also, coming up, we have, of course, our calendar. This is the GT3 championship that we're watching here tonight with the Porsche Cup Support Series. This is technically round one of the Winter Series with 16 drivers starting us out tonight. We have also, of course, the GT3s at Hungaroring. It's going to be a 30-45 doubleheader, so 2 more races ahead for us tonight. Also, Maserati Madness on the 27th of this month, 30-45 doubleheader at Kyalami. Definitely want to be there for that one. That one's going to be extremely exciting. Any of these events that are on screen are going to be available over on SimGrid. Link there in chat as well. The GT4 Rookie Series, which will be tomorrow. Or will it? It will be Brands Hatch on the 27th. No, it will not be tomorrow. There will be no GT4 race tomorrow, but it will be back in 2 weeks. So look forward to that over at Brands Hatch. Plenty of practice time if you guys do want to hop into the championship, so now would be a great time to do so. Also, of course, our GT3 Reverse Grid, which has been a smashing success round one at Spa-Francorchamps. We have Silverstone coming up, a 2020 doubleheader, November 30th. Like I said, at Silverstone. Make sure you guys sign up for these. It is very, very exciting here at TRACKILICIOUS with some amazing action out there. And back into it, we see Brandon Pfeiffer, speaking of amazing action, chasing down Andre Alex Afonso. Oops, I have completely gone and done the wrong thing. There we are. Okay. We are halfway through this race, 17 minutes and end to it. You can see hopping on board with Brandon Pfeiffer in the Porsche Cup car. Chasing down Afonso in that slipstream as he navigates these tight curves. It's basically, in this Sector 3, one hairpin after another. Very awkward, very tough to make a move. But now, this is where the setup comes in. You can see him running a little bit deep. He's going to try to carry that speed onto the start-finish straight and just pick that throttle up slightly earlier. And he is going to have a much better launch onto the start-finish straight. You can see Andre ended up there into the rumble strips, but even with that slipstream, Afonso walking away pretty well. And with just a half mile long of a straight, it's very tough to make anything happen. Of course, the Kemmel straight over at Spa-Francorchamps is going to be about 0.65 of a mile, just for comparison. But that's also after a very high speed in and out corner. This has a hairpin to lead onto it. Very slow exit, at least relatively. A bit further back, Jan Rodrigues. What's happened here to Jan? We have Jan Stamp. Jan Stomp. Imagines. A little bit of contact here between him and the number 12. It looks like Jonathan Kelly with a tag to the rear end of the number 100 through the final corner. Jonathan almost sends himself into the pit lane, and Jan ends up quite far off in no man's land. Rejoins the track, but definitely going to be a bit upset after that one. Now, Brandon Pfeiffer still looking at the rear end of Andre Alex Afonso. Hasn't had any real opportunities just yet. We also have Romaldo Jr., who's making looks onto Jan Roderick now. The R2A2 Motorsports. Teammates with Lucas Mind. Lucas Mind not out there tonight, interestingly. Instead, Romaldo Jr. taking his place in the R2A2 Motorsports. Hopefully he keeps his seat nice and warm for him until next week. And by that I mean he pees in it. But regardless of how the warmth is retained, he's cruising along in a handy 8th position currently with the 133, about a second and a half up the road, and seems like is walking away actually. Also, Jacob Church is back out on track, so yes, he did just pop into chat to throw in a $10 donation and then return to the grid. What an absolute legend. We have developments up at the front. This is a battle for P1, in fact. Nicholas Lima has somehow found the back end. In fact, now has found in front of Vadik Konstitsia. Vadik caught slipping, it seems. He was about 3.5 seconds ahead. Now is behind Nicholas Lima. But no longer, as Nicholas Lima runs wide. In fact, is maybe even going to rejoin and take out Vadik Konstitsia. Even all 3 drivers, Nicholas Lima included, involved in this. This is absolute chaos here on lap 8, I think, or lap 6. No, lap 11. Let's get an above view from this. So we see Nicholas Lima wash wide and drift off. Now, Vadik needs to leave room for him to rejoin, but also, I'm not sure. Now, that is going to be a debate from the stewards, is should Nicholas Lima have yielded on the rejoin? And I think absolutely. That was a very unsafe-ish rejoin, but also there needs to be room. That's going to be definitely one for the stewards. Lucas Lichten getting caught up in that. He was the innocent victim, no doubt. He is now battling for P6. Big moments, though, here on the Hungaroring in race 1 tonight. Is this 3-way scrap now carries on? It was 2-way. Lucas Lichten hopefully needs to keep his head down here. In fact, he did win our previous Porsche Cup championship. Oh, and there's contact again. Lucas needs to make sure he gets these overtakes done cleanly and not pick up any penalties for next week. That's the biggest deal here, as it is all about the recovery drive for him, but needs to be cautious. Jonathan Kelly now under threat after washing wide from Brandon Pfeiffer. Brandon has a run on him, but no, Brandon Pfeiffer into the pits. Vadik also is in the pits to make his mandatory stop. All of these drivers that were collected in that incident well, actually, it looks like Nicholas Lima didn't. Would have expected them to do so. you go faster if you keep your head down, less drag. Now that's go-karting meta right there, Snoopy. And Severius, welcome, welcome. Your boy Roderick's in this race. Yes, he is. Jan Roderick's is down here in P10 in the baseline racing, the 133. Currently chasing down Jonathan Kelly, but Jonathan Kelly in the pits. This should be a fairly easy pass for him, and up past the top 10 he goes into the single-digit positions. Vadik may also lose out. No, Vadik is already handedly out. And Jonathan Kelly is overtaken there by the wounded baseline racing. Definitely not quite a showroom-ready Porsche there. Bit further up ahead, Brandon Pfeiffer and Lucas Lichten resuming their battle, or Lucas kind of having placed himself here, or having been placed here, I suppose. As I said before, our previous Porsche Cup champion, so is quite experienced behind the wheel of these cars. This time around, though, getting the best of him was the action around, bumping him back down. Nicholas Lima is going to be retaining his position in P2. And the stewards, as I said before, definitely will be having a look at that incident between Vadik, Nicholas, and Lucas. But for now, that will be post-race. We are here in the middle of the race. In fact, 10 minutes, 19 seconds left till we head on into race 2, of course. Brandon Pfeiffer doing everything he can at this stage to keep up with Lucas Lichten. He was struggling to keep up with Andre Alex Afonso, or at least struggling to make the overtake happen, and it seems that that's still the case here. He can keep up very easily, but he just can't quite get anything done. And Hungaroring often is the case there, where it's a game of if not when, but that's only if the driver makes a mistake in front. And Lucas Lichten, well, previous champion, not one to make too many mistakes. There's a little one from Brandon Pfeiffer. You can see as he tries to take the alternate lines, but it just doesn't really get him anywhere. As he gets the hammer down, heading into Sector 3 now, a 90-degree corner, followed up by 2 hairpins. Is going to have a look, but no, definitely thinks better of it. This corner naturally washes you wide. As you can see, it's slightly uphill on that exit, so if you go for that inside move, you're more than likely going to end up into the side panel of a car. It is possible. If you have enough bravery and enough confidence in not only yourself, but the driver next to you, it should be doable. Now, Brandon here, he smells blood in the water. That was a big wiggle from Lucas Lichten onto the start-finish straight. There they go, side by side now, heading into the braking zone. Brandon Pfeiffer on the outside, gonna have to take the long way around. It isn't going to happen this time. No switchback either on the brakes, just slightly too early there was Brandon. Oh, and that's a big drift there from Lucas Lichten, but parking it in the middle of the track just does not allow anywhere for the Pfeiffer to go on the outside. It's just brutal. He has the pace, 0.2 quicker last lap. And actually, I think we just missed a very handed pass. What has happened to Romaldo Jr.? Romaldo was up on the podium. Coming into the chicane now, or are we into the back? I can't tell where we are. We're in the sweeping right-hander here, off onto the marbles, way wide, and struggling to get the power down, just allows Alex Afonso through easily. There's a no-effort pass from Alex Afonso, and Romaldo's got the entire world to make up after that. Karu in chat, welcome, welcome. Hope you're having a lovely evening. Hope everyone's having a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. Of course, I'm Mike Nause, who was late into the booth today. We have Brandon Pfeiffer out here providing us some incredible action on track with Lucas Lichten company. Some drivers still need to make their pit stops. Romaldo Jr. is one of them. Nicholas Lima also now is making his pit stop as I say that. And Hubert Pastuska, apologies on the mispronunciations there, as that's almost certainly not how you pronounce that. He is leading us away. He still needs to make his pit stop, though. In fact, Alex Afonso may be taking the lead of this race. It depends. Hubert is ahead by about 50 seconds. Now, looking at the pit timing here at the Hungaroring with a mandatory stop time here of 30 seconds. We're seeing all of these drivers stop for over 30 seconds, which means they're taking tires, interestingly. We are looking at about a 59-second loss, in fact, so it's going to be very close. Andre Alex Afonso, it really comes down to if Hubert takes tires or not, and Andre did not take tires. I think Hubert has to go for it and stick it out on this old rubber, but he is also almost, never mind, what am I talking about? It's 5 minutes left in this race, of course he is. But he does need to make that stop soon. King Donut, welcome, welcome. Getting ready for the GT3 race as well as the race to come. Of course, chat, don't go anywhere for the intermission because we've got some racing for you as well, and King Donut knows that all too well. Brandon Pfeiffer, hot on the chase. He's running out of time here. Needs to get the hammer down with about 3, maybe 4 laps remaining. At 1:47, fastest lap around here, 1:47.0 from Nicholas Lima, the driver who is up behind there about 2 seconds. He may be joining this action at the very end. Nicholas, of course, involved in that collision earlier that we saw. Now down into 6th. Needs to make up some ground, Brandon Pfeiffer and Lucas Lichten. They are going to be in his way. And King Donut, I am speed. Yes, yes, yes. Here we go. Brandon Pfeiffer, 1/10 away, coming into Sector 2 now. This is going to be a tricky one, but he's going to go for it onto the inside, backs out. Smart move. That would have been very bold and probably ended up with both drivers losing their position as a result. Brandon got a good head on his shoulders, needs to keep it in check here, but running out of time and running out of patience. You can see overdriving that car off onto the curbs, off onto the rumble strips. That could mean more than just one position gained. That could mean a lot of positions lost if he ends up pushing that too hard. Needs to be careful. Brandon Pfeiffer running out of time, but still with a little bit left. Also, George Elmer in the Simnut Racing has come into P11, about 1 second behind Devin Anthony. We see, though, what happened there. I think we saw some, or would have seen if I was on it, very close action between Brandon Pfeiffer and Lucas, but I think Brandon has overcooked the braking zone. Now dropped to about a second behind with Nicholas Lima, about equal distant to the car behind. Hubert out of the pits, and Andre Alex Afonso leads this race. Even not taking tires for Hubert was not enough. He did not take tires. He had the exact same time in the pits served as Hubert, or as Andre, but no, it was not enough. Andre Alex Afonso, off pure pace alone, has taken the lead of this race, the Portuguese driver. And the Polish driver, unfortunately, left into P2 with about 2.5 seconds for him to make up. Lichten, 7 seconds behind, and very bouncy as well. Brandon Pfeiffer, can he get it? He's been trying and trying and trying, and I feel for him. This is not an easy track to overtake on by any stretch of the imagination. These cars, of course, all equal as well. All of these 4.0 liter naturally aspirated flat sixes with 510 brake horsepower. And equal performance, all down to pure driving skill. As a result, you can see the intensity that it brings here to the table. But now, coming around the penultimate corner, but our leader around the final corner is going to start our final lap here tonight. Stitsiev's zombie green looks nice on the Cup car. It really does. Would I describe this as zombie green? I'm not sure. But, yeah. You mean like around the back of the bumper? Not on the hood of the car. That's lime, obviously. No, I see what you mean. I don't know how else you would describe that, I guess, so that's... But when I think zombies, I think Minecraft zombies, so a little bit darker. I don't know. Devin Anthony did lose the position also to George Elmer. He has made his way up into the top 10. I think Devin maybe had a little bit of an error that dropped that. Brandon, though, running out of tarmac, but that's way too wide. Lucas Lichten actually loses it, and that allows Brandon Pfeiffer through easily. Lucas, I did not expect. I saw that Brandon Pfeiffer was overdriving his car. I did not expect Lucas Lichten to overdrive to the extent where he may even be compromised another position, and there's contact between Nicholas Lima and Lucas Lichten. They managed to save it, both drivers, but there's another bit of contact, and Nicholas Lima is stranded on the side. Will Stewart is through as a result. Is Vadik going to make up a position? More than likely not. Brandon Pfeiffer, though, onto the podium. The stewards are going to have their work cut out for them tonight. There is no doubt there. And Andre Alex Afonso comes across the line for P1, the Intercontinental Racing Porsche Cup. The Portuguese driver in first. Hubert Pudzuka in P2, and Brandon Pfeiffer in P3. Will Stewart takes fourth there at the end. Lucas Lichten with a little bit of a maybe not celebration. And Nicholas Lima going to be rather disappointed at his result. Sixth position for him. Vadik also P7, not going to be too happy with that. Jan Rodrix in eighth. Ways back, 31 seconds behind Vadik there. But as I said, everyone, don't go anywhere because there is more to come here in the intermissions. Of course, we may have some driver interviews if we can wrangle any of the drivers up. Andre Alex Afonso, Hubert Pudzuka, and Brandon Pfeiffer. Pastuska. I'm so sorry, Hubert. Jan Rodrix to the line. Romaldo Jr. in 10th, and George Elmer rounds out our top 10. Devin Anthony with an error in the final few corners. Jonathan Kelly doesn't quite. Oh no, Jonathan loses it at the very end at the final corner. Puts it in headfirst into the barrier. Is Jan Stam going to get it? No, he is not. Jonathan Kelly limps it to the end. And Jan Stam going to be a bit disappointed there. The Dutch driver in P11. And last but not least will be Jacob Church in P14. What a race one. As I said, folks, don't go anywhere because there is more to come. We're going to head back into the booth for right now. Welcome back, everybody. Hope everyone enjoyed that. We're going to see if we can wrangle up, as I said, any of our drivers. And while we wait on that, let's see. Not seeing anyone. I didn't expect. A lot of those drivers I have not seen in the Discord. Hopefully, if they are watching, we can get them. But we are going to start up the Stream Racer. We're going to get that rolling while we wait, obviously. If they do pop in, we will be more than happy to take their interviews. So, while that goes on and while we boot everything up. Hopefully everyone's going to be coming into chat as well. One Bigly joining us. Welcome, welcome. With a hydrate to boot. We can go with some water. It's so far away. I don't know why I put my water bottle so far away. Lovely. As we get into it here, why don't we... Actually, here, well, we'll get everything ready, obviously. And have a nice little... Ooh, Monaco. They have Monaco at this? Let's go. Okay. I doubt this is a one-to-one rendition of Monaco. But if you guys do want to type !race, you can start on that. While we are here, I do want to say a massive thanks to our Patrons, all of them on screen currently. Massive, massive thank you to you guys. Also, as I said before, if we can get the top 3, Andre, Alex, Afonso, Hubert, Patsuka, or Brandon Pfeiffer into the Discord, that would be great. But big thank you to all of you on screen. You guys are amazing and make what we do here possible and want us to keep going and beyond. As we have it, though, we're going to head on into Stream Racer. And we are now down on into the session. So, !race, everybody, if you want to get involved on some Stream Racer action. Now, what is Stream Racer, everybody? Well, it's going to be you guys competing against each other, but you're going to have absolutely no control. Well, I should say not no control. You'll have some control over your car. Of course, if you want to type !boost in chat, that will allow you to, well, let's just say use it strategically. Currently only 2 people. Come on, everyone. !race in chat. We have a raiding party as well. Let's go. Perfect time for the raid. 522. I'm assuming that's Brandon Pfeiffer. Brandon, if you do want to get in on an interview, I'd love to hear you in the Discord. If you pop into the green room, we can get you in here. Yeah, just above where I am sitting currently. I'm in a locked channel, but if you do want to pop on in, feel free. Welcome, welcome, Raiders, as well. Hope you enjoyed Brandon's perspective. Got to see a nice podium finish there. And Vadik, hello, hello. Make sure you guys type !race in chat if you are just joining us. We got 5 people. Come on, everyone. !race. Let's get on it. Sounds good. You get in there. Perfect, perfect. We'll get an interview with you before we head on into this Stream Racer session. And while we wait as well for the GT3 qualifying's probably already started, if I had to guess. I should probably check on that before we do this, huh? Well, it's a little late now, but we'll check on it. We can be late for both things tonight. What's wrong with that? Let's see. Let me at least get a look. !race in the meantime, everyone. That is not going to be going away. And Vadik, you're finally streaming again, Vadik. All right. Let's go. How did Nightbot manage it again? Oh, they typed a race. Man, can we kick Nightbot out? We'll leave him. We'll leave Nightbot this time. Be generous. As only 8 people in there. We'll get 1 minute on the clock here, as the free practice session is going to be transferring over. We got plenty of time in qualifying. I'm not too worried. Let's get started, though. Get a hustle on this. So, !race if you guys do want to join. Also, !boost while you're in the session. We'll get Eric in here as well. Why not? Eric isn't in chat, so get him involved. We have, as it stands, Raleigh. We have Gene MC. We have Snoopy, Darren Thomas in there. We got Engel. We got Vadik. We got Nightbot somehow. I don't know how he manages to sneak in every time. And Eric. !race. You guys are interested. And RSJ, welcome, welcome. Unfortunately, my fellow Portuguese streamer not joining us this week. He will be back soon, though. I'm sure of that. Karu getting in at the last possible minute. Love to see it. Nice. Eric sneaking in. We got 2 Erics. We'll kick TRACKILICIOUS then. As we get into the session here, buckle up everybody. Darren Thomas on pole position as we go green here at Monaco. Now this is Monaco according to the in-game description. I'm off to a smashing start inside. Oh, and it's a spin-off already. Me and Vadik off into the barrier. No surprises for me. One bigly Jacob Church. Oh, gets taken out by the barrier. Now Gene off into the grass. Also, Darren Thomas gets the exclamation mark boost of a lifetime. Almost jumps the track, in fact. I don't know what they put that for. It must be some kind of shortcut if you can make that happen. One bigly, can he make that boost happen? No, he doesn't. He makes the corner instead. Raleigh Duche coming up now onto the corner. Everybody nip and tuck so far as it stands. Raleigh off. Oh, Karu and Eric having a bit of a bout themselves. Eric is now fully stuck. Darren Thomas Snoopy under the candy canes. After the jump, we can see Engel. Is it? Yeah, I think it's just Engel. I'm not sure. Apologies. Through the casino hairpin here at Monaco. Gene now making his way through the casino as well. Of course, if we had jumps in Formula 1, that would make that race a much more interesting, I assure you that. Gene, is the exclamation mark boost is a bit too strong. The tires act as a ramp, and he ends up getting launched and lifted off. One bigly and Engel having a bit of a little fun time together. Why not? That is how baby cars are made, everybody. Thomas Snoopy is absolutely flying, and actually using the barrier there strategically to slow him down for the apex after that boost as he comes into Casino del Lago? Is that what this is? No, wait, that's on Brazil, isn't it? I don't remember what the next chicane is called at Monaco. Ferrari strats. Oh, nicely done. Engel slips through the barriers and keeps it on track. Nicely done as they slow down on the boost pad. The exclamation mark boost quicker than the boost pad, interestingly. Picks up now on down the hairpin into the sector 4. I don't know. We're coming into the, what is it called? What's the restaurant called? I've forgotten. But through the final few corners, and Engel takes the win. Nicely done as Thomas Snoopy takes second with one bigly close behind and me to boot. Then after that, Gene comes to the line, and I think that was Eric after Gene. Nightbot way back behind, slipping with a lovely car as well. You can customize your cars. I know that. I don't know how. Vadik blazing his own way in the night, really. And the last position here is going to be Jace Wright. Jace is all the way back here at, well, I don't even know if he's made it to the casino hairpin yet. As he approaches, he gets the tire off onto the grass. Jace Wright really struggling there with the controller. You can see the controller king. It doesn't have the inputs there of the pedals, of course. I'm just talking. Jace, he's actually out on track right now, so he's probably not even listening. But first podium from Snoopy. Let's go. And Jacob Church on the podium as well. Just sneaking in. I ended up in P4, and Engel takes the win here tonight. And a big woo. Love to see it. I know we need some sort of leaderboard here. I'll work on that in between this and next stream. I'll work on some sort of leaderboard for the game of Stream Racer, and I'll see if I can pull some previous ones into it as well. Let's head back into the studio momentarily while we now head on into the race session, or the quali session, I should say. The drivers have been out on track, and there are quite a few of them here for the GT3 race tonight, and you absolutely love to see it. Hungaroring is going to bring some excitement. I have a sneaking suspicion, so we have 24 drivers out on track. Now, before we head on into the session, we still have 16 minutes left in qualifying. There's plenty of time to go over a few things real quick. If you guys are interested in participating in any of our leagues, you can type !SimGrid there in chat. Find a link there, Nightbot posting it as well. You can see our calendar on screen right now. GT3s are what you're watching now. Of course, our Porsche Cup support race was round 1 at Hungaroring. This is round 5 at Hungaroring for the GT3s. 30-45 doubleheader tonight. We have the Maserati Madness coming up on the 27th. Also, GT4 Series, GT4 Rookies, and GT4 Patreon Open. It's one of our more competitive races, actually. The GT4 is super fun, and we're going to be out there in Brands Hatch 2 weeks from now. Also, our GT3 reverse grid at Silverstone. That one is going to be, this GT3 reverse grid is really something to behold. We got Jake Wells driving in it to boot. So if you guys know who that is, of course, I suck at this over on Twitch. It's quite the championship. We saw Ali Raza getting bested And my goodness, it couldn't be tighter over there. Also, massive shout out to all our Patreon members before we head on into the session. All of their names on chat if you guys are interested in holy smokes, Steven Tomazic dropping a sub as well. You love to see it. Dropping a Prime sub, taking that money straight out of Jeff Bezos' pocket. Let's get my face on screen for that. Taking the money straight out of Jeff Bezos' pocket. Of course, if anyone doesn't know what Twitch Prime is, if you have Amazon Prime, all you have to do is link your Amazon Prime with your Twitch, and you have one free one free sub every single month. You can use that on anyone's platform. And thank you very much, Steven, for using it here. But of course, if you don't use that Twitch sub, it goes straight into Jeff Bezos' pocket, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants the Twitch money to go into Jeff Bezos' pocket. You gotta put it into the pocket of the streamers. So make sure you don't have to use it here. We appreciate it if you do. Make sure you guys use that Prime sub if you do have one. Massive thank you, Steven, for using that here, though. Also, Steven Tomazic, of course, going to be joining me, not tomorrow, as there is no race tomorrow, but in a couple weeks for that rookie series. And interestingly, man, I really wonder why that happens. But anyways, that's not to bother, as it seems to be all good in-game. Why don't we get some in-game audio and head on into the session now? As we look on in, Ollie Raza here currently on pole position, leading the time charts with a 1:43.0. P2, Wilson Fernandez, a 1:45.5. Quite a bit off the pace there at the start. Definitely going to be looking to bring that up, but I definitely think he will be able to. Wilson Fernandez on an invalid lap currently. The Audi, a car that I would expect to be fairly strong here tonight. Steven, did you miss anything important besides me being late to the first stream? No, you didn't. It was a great race. We saw Brandon Pfeiffer take the podium. Brandon Pfeiffer took the podium. Oh my goodness. Brandon Pfeiffer, I forgot about you.
What's up?
Speaking of things that I forgot about, Brandon Pfeiffer did take the podium in the race one. Brandon, I gotta admit, it was a hard-fought battle. You were struggling behind the likes of Andre Alex Afonso for a very long time, and then Lucas Lichten ended up joining the party, but you managed to dispatch him on the last lap. How did it feel?
It felt great, man. I was curious what everyone's strategy was going to be. You know, obviously these cars don't have traction control, so you know, I was wondering, were people going to, you know, only sacrifice 5 seconds to take new tires? I decided I was not going to take tires and just try to manage the tires throughout the race. And so that's why I was kind of just putting pressure on people, hoping that they would, you know, give it some extra gas coming out of the corner and either slide or spin. And it seemed to not work with Afonso. His pace was wildly up there, and his pit stop was really, really quick. But it worked with Lichten toward the end. So
yeah, you managed to force him into a mistake. I will say, I think all of the drivers up at the top did that same decision. Most of the people that went in early, which really surprised me, I will say, in a 35-minute race. I know there's no traction control, and Hungaroring is quite abrasive, but I was quite surprised to see the amount of tire changes that we saw in the field tonight. But the top three, all pretty standard in not taking their tires, and it seemed to be the right call. But as you said, the grip getting down to the minimum at the very end, and Lucas Lichten falling victim, and that must have felt pretty good when you saw him wash wide. I know it was a long time coming, and you probably were getting a little impatient back there.
Yeah, and then you had Lima catching up to us as well, because he came out of the pits. He was setting the fastest laps throughout the race, so when I saw he came out of the pits behind me, I think he was like 3 or 4 seconds behind. I was like, it's not going to take him that long to catch up. And luckily I got past Lichten, and then him and Lima ended up having to contend with each other toward the end. So it worked out perfect.
Yes, it did. Awesome job there, Brandon. Can't wait to see you back. Great result for your race 1 of the winter series here at the Porsche Cups. We gotta move on into the session now. Apologies. I did forget about you. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, I hope to see you next time around where I don't forget. Awesome. Thanks, Brandon. Have a good one.
You too.
Awesome. Big thank you there to Brandon Pfeiffer. We did get our interview at the end of the day. Apologies there for that. But as it stands, nothing has changed too much in qualifying except for one massive thing, I suppose. There is one thing that has changed. Casey Schutte. He's up into P3. Was into P2 momentarily, but Wilson Fernandez seems to have managed to outpace him for now. Leading on, though, into it. We'll see how that goes. And yes, Steven, you're welcome for the reminder. Yeah, it just takes you, yeah. You love to see it. Nonetheless, we have our even number drivers out on track for right now. Ali Raza in pole position with a 1:43.8. That is going to be the quickest time and the one to beat. And just under a second away is Wilson Fernandez. Ollie seemingly on the pace of his own tonight. Now, Albert Tranghisi, I know that this is a driver who hasn't had the most practice coming into this race. He said maybe he had about 10 minutes, but unfortunately, or rather fortunately for him, unfortunately for the drivers around, it seems to not matter that much. Steven, honestly, I kind of forgot because it was a little bit late. Of course, massive thank you also. I should probably shout Brandon Pfeiffer out, as Brandon came in with a little bit of a raid for us. So, there is Brandon Pfeiffer. Make sure you guys go hit the follow button over there. Seems that I already have, so you'll love to see it. Casey Schutte going to come into the pits, currently 4th fastest in the 444. Some would call that fitting. Some would say he's about 2 positions away from where he should be. Bernotis also in P7 with a pretty good result so far, just ahead of Steven Music and Dixon Hurst. Jace Wright ahead of him by a fairly decent margin also, just about 0.6 separating those two drivers. Can Bernotis change that, though, as he comes to the line? It will be an improvement. However, I don't think it's going to be enough to gain that position there over Brandon Pfeiffer, or excuse me, over Jace Wright. However, it does trim that margin down a little bit slimmer. So, Bernotis chipping away there at Jace's time. Now, Jace is in the pits. And actually, Bernotis, that was going to be the end of his qualifying anyways, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, that is. That's going to be the last lap that he can set, as it is the odd number driver's turn to start their flying lap. Stefania Blaskovic, I think, is the first driver to do so as well. So why don't we pop on board here with Stefania as we head down into the first corner. And now everyone knows this corner name. It's one of the most famous names on the track. Turn 1. Of course, none of these corner names have corners. Now, clips that a little bit deep, actually. Needs to be tighten that up mid-corner. You can get on the throttle very early, and that allows you to go just carry maximum speed there through the apex. Now into the second corner, or third corner, however, it's turn 2. Flat out there through the third corner as we head up to the fourth. Now this is a tough one. It's all about a little bit of an off-balance corner. You got to chuck it down 2 gears. Doesn't quite use all of the rumble strips. Now into the very long and patient turn 5, where you have to get on the throttle now towards a chicane. Not much of a braking marker for reference, and that's very deep into the chicane. Needs to, well, brake slightly earlier, really. Definitely just a banker lap here for Stefania as it stands. Getting the heat into the tires. Going to be one of the crucial things here, is it's a shorter out lap. Not too much time to get heat into those. So lap 1 here, just going to be a bit of a time stamp to go from in the future. Now into sector 3. 3 more corners to go, navigating the 90-degree corner with 2 hairpins left. The penultimate corner of turn 13. I hate tracks that don't have corner names. So unexciting. And the final corner, the 14th. A little bit of a correction mid-corner. Does carry a good amount of speed onto the start-finish straight, which will allow her to improve on her next lap. This lap, though, going to be P14 for now. Definitely left quite a bit of time on the board, and I think Stefania will be able to find that by the end of the session. As coming into turn 1, maybe not quite this lap. Behind her, Stefano Rinaldi in P15. In terms of the odd plate drivers, it seems they're having a bit of a struggle to get some laps on the board here. We have, looks like, I saw one driver, the number 99 there of Anton Was, in P7 currently. It's going to be our highest positioned odd plate driver as it stands. Eric Kassian sneaking his way into 14th. We just saw a big change there. That was the number 71 of Christian Rousseau. The Jolly Rancher 992 makes his way up into 9th position. Thank you very much, Nemesis. This allows me to choose the most appropriate corner names. Yeah, but nobody knows what I'm talking about. Like, I could start just calling it, all right, and into Pigeon we go here. But nobody knows that that's Pigeon. And then you go and look it up, and you're like, no, that's not called Pigeon, man. That's just called Turn 5. Or Turn 4. This is Turn 5. Which is confusing because there's also a Turn 1A. There's Turn 1 and Turn 1A. And now, is that a corner? I don't know. I didn't make the corner names here. Mimic the best? You want me to mimic the best engine sound, Nemesis? From original Assetto Corsa or just from Assetto Corsa as a whole? Because I haven't played Assetto Corsa in a while. Now, I could probably do a decent V8. Assetto Corsa period. Okay, so just any of it. Okay. I could probably do a decent, like, Camaro's a bit whiny. I don't know if I could do a Camaro. But like an AMG. Alright, here, let's pop on. We have some AMGs in this session here. We got Anton. Let's hop on board here with Anton. That's going to be a tough one, too. I can't get the transmission sound. That's the issue. A lot of these cars, you can hear their transmission whining. I can't do that. Can't do that. Oh, the GT3s are actually kind of... Oh, there's a Honda out on track. Jaeger Karu and a Honda. Unfortunately, not out on track, though. That would have been a decent one to imitate, I feel. But we got the AMG. How do you even do this? As it goes down the straight here, we can pop on board. Okay, that's enough of that. All right, we're done. You got your clip. Are you happy? I thought I made a pretty good car noise there, so... I even had the downshifting. It's like we were really there. That was the more real life impersonation, honestly. Kunos hire this man. Thank you, Stroker. I'm calling Turn 4 Pigeon from now on. Go right ahead. Go right ahead. That could be a trademark one. We can keep that one. That's fine. And Roos headed into... Yeah, if we just wrote down all of my quotes, I feel like 99% of them wouldn't make too much sense, so... are we getting ready for AC2 channel or sticking with this one in the spring of 2024? You know, Nemesis, let's wait and see on that one. We honestly haven't discussed that too much. I think we're going to be taking AC2, though, as much... I'm hoping it's a good game. That's really what it comes down to, right? Is if they make AC2 better than ACC, which is going to be quite a tough ask, to be completely honest. This game is already really good. So, hopefully it brings some new life into the game. You know, that's my biggest hope. It needs to be good. They need a good release. You know, these games... all of these games these days coming out with their releases and just absolutely ruining it. And the game comes out and it's not in any ready state whatsoever. It's terrible performance. And then they'd have to patch it and patch it and patch it. But I'm tired of that. I mean, these game developers, I understand they're still using that COVID as an excuse, but at a certain point, when is that going to stop? And I really hope AC2 is a game that, well, comes out and is just good. It's good on release, you know? We really need that. And yes, Steven, they need to release a complete game as well. Yes, absolutely. Don't release it in alpha. Don't release it in beta. Release the full version. You see Anton Wass there coming to an end of his qualifying as the checkered flag has fallen. Any driver on a lap. Christian Rousseau flies up into P2. Nicely done from the Melted Jolly Rancher Racing there of Christian Rousseau. They weren't releasing complete games even before COVID. Yeah, but then when COVID happened, the game developers started using it as an excuse, which, you know, fair enough. It probably is a slightly valid excuse, but I feel that it's a bit of an old excuse at this point. And Stroker, we need to do a full 24-hour Nürburgring when it comes out. That's not a bad idea. Let's just say that, Stroker. That's not a bad idea. And your boy, Casey Schutte in P6. Let's go. Yeah, Casey. All right. Sorry, everyone. Whew, I didn't mean to say that one out loud. Big thank you, Wolf Brecky, for the follow. Much appreciated. Well, here we have it. The calm before the storm, and this is race 1 of 2 tonight. Of course, 30 minutes on the clock ahead of us for this session. After that, we will have a 45-minute race, of course, with 1 mandatory pit stop, 25 seconds required stationary, 5 additional seconds for tires. We saw a lot of drivers in the P-Cup race take tires, and, well, maybe not have been the optimal strategy. As we have it, though, starting here in P1, it's going to be Ali Raza in the Pakistan Zinabad number 30 Ferrari 296. Lined up next to him will be Christian Rousseau in the Melted Jolly Rancher Racing Porsche 992 in the number 71 in the front row. Wilson Fernandez is going to be in P3, the number 888 with Vadik Otsitsiev Company in row 2. In P4, Albert Tranghisi going to be 5th quickest in the 44 with Casey Schutte in his rightful P6. Let's hope he can bring it home there. The number 444 Reckless GT3 with CJ Engine Company in P7. Quinn Smith, the number 999, going to be in P8 this time around on the 4th row with Ricky Scott behind him in P9. Anton Wass going to be rounding out our top 10, the number 99 AMG with Jace Wright Company in P11. Professor Chronotis going to be 12th quickest, the Canadian, with Steven Music, the American, in P13. The Ferrari 296 is next to each other there, with a Lamborghini of Eric the Boss Kakassian in P14. Dixon Hurst, 15th quickest, with Devin Anthony Company in 16th. Casey Jackman going to be rounding out 17th with Zane Blisket in P18. Stefania Blaskovic going to be P19. The number 53 Scuderia Ferrari with Stefano Rinaldi rounding out our top 20 in the Ferrari 296 as well. Rally Duchy in P21 with Jaeger Karu Company in the Honda NSX, a car that you don't see often out there anymore. Love to see it there from the number 20. And Joshua Payne Company in P23. Last but not least, it will be the Scuderia Toro Rossa McLaren Evo 2 of Ashley Forrester, the number 994 British driver, bringing up the back of the field. Last but not least, we have, of course, here a very short track at Hungaroring, 2.7 miles, 14 corners, 6 to the left, 8 to the right, with 35 meters of elevation change. The start-finish straight that we're looking at currently just over a half of a mile. And here, this track founded back in 1986 and has been basically unchanged ever since. The driver is now beginning their outlap as the cars start up, and Ali Raza begins underway. And the Jolly Rancher is rocking some nice gradients. Eric would be proud, Snoopy. But as we have it, that AC2 talk, well, that's behind us for now. I'm sure we'll resume it later, though. Don't worry. We have nothing but blue skies ahead of us, it seems. 30 minutes of green action. Race 2, presumably going to be the same. Of course, race 2, though, will be 45 minutes. We'll have a qualifying session to boot in that as well. Forzy, welcome, welcome. Now is not the time for you to be dropping comments in the chat. Now is the time for you to be focusing on the road ahead of you. Ashley Forrester in P24. Of course, Forzy in chat. With the 5-second penalty also. Naughty, Forzy. Picking that up from a previous race. I guess as we have it here, we can take a look at one thing before we get into it. Our standing, or our calendar, we can take a look at real quick. Our GT3 is coming up. All of this can be found over on SimGrid. We're just going to do a brief, don't worry everyone, it's not going to be a long one. All of our events, GT3, Porsche Cup, Maserati Madness, GT4 Rookies, GT4 Open, and the GT3 Reverse Grid, all of course are on different days. Well, not all of them. A lot of those are on different days. All can be found over on SimGrid. Also, big thank you to our Patreon members. All of their names are up on screen currently. If you guys do want to support, you can find it down in the description, a link to donations directly, or a Patreon, P-A-T-R-E-O-N, link in chat or in the description. Also, one bigly. That's a great emote. Jacob Church, are you out on track right now? Or are you in chat? You might be in chat. I love that. I've been trying to think of an emote for saxophones, and I wonder if me playing a saxophone is possible. That would be fun. Definitely would be fun. But as we have it, the drivers lined up 2x2 Noah's Ark formation. Ali Raza on pole position with Christian Rousseau company in P2. I'm Mike Nause in the booth as we get ready to go green here, heading down to the first corner. The drivers, of course, ready to go, and it's a drive-through penalty straight up the bat for Ali Raza. That is enormous. We see a yellow flag as well behind. I'm not sure what that was about. I don't think that was anything. Christian Rousseau, though, on the charge into the first quarter, going to be trying to go around the outside of Ali Raza with Vidi Kutsitsi of company and Wilson Fernandez going at each other in P2 and 3. Looks like Wilson Fernandez has managed to catch that advantage there behind Casey Schutte. Has lost P6 to Quinn Smith. Makes a send on down the inside, though. Quinn Smith washes wide onto the marbles. That's almost surely going to be the position back. Quinn Smith falling down behind Ricky Scott even to boot. Behind him, Jace Wright, the controller king, going to be trying to go for any sort of advantage here. He looks for a gap. It's there in the middle, but it's a risky one to make happen, and he doesn't go for it. Smartly done there from Jace Wright. He backs out and waits and goes for it onto Quinn Smith in the following corner. It doesn't look like he's going to have that dream become a reality just yet. They stay side by side, though. The two V10 engines, 5.2 liter V10s going at it. They're the exact same engine. It'll be down purely to driver skill there. Jace Wright looks like he does get the advantage. CJ engine behind in P11. He's going to be now looking to dispatch Anton Wass in P10. But definitely the elephant in the room, Ali Raza picking up a drive-through penalty for being out of grid place at the start here. That is devastating and going to shake everything up here in race 1. Christian Rousseau going to be wait, whoa, okay, server issues. I hope that was just my end. Oh goodness. I really hope that that is just my end, everybody. Oh no, I see some disconnects. Oh no, that was Ali Raza getting past. Okay. I think we're okay. And a full onboard lap for Trango from Lord West. Welcome back, Lord West. It's been a while. Wilson, we'll catch on that, don't worry. Wilson currently in a battle, though, with Albert Trangisi. Trango on the charge. We'll pick him up. Actually, why not just pick him up now? Now's the best time, I suppose. Doesn't need to be a full lap. Vadik disconnected. Yep, I know. I did. Oh, man. Vadik, that sucks. That's all I got to say. That sucks. I feel for you. I hope you get back out there and have a decent result next time around. I know we have race 2 coming up. I hope you do better there, but that sucks. Albert Trangisi, luckily, he has managed to stick with it, and now that Ollie Raza is down in P last and served his drive-through penalty, he will be battling with Christian Rousseau ahead. Christian about 2.5 seconds up the road. Wilson Fernandez behind about 0.8. See yellow flags on the track here from Zane Blisket and Dixon Hurst. I want to go back and catch that before we resume this lap. What has happened here? So we're riding, this is the McLaren of Dixon. We're in Sector 2 currently. Now, are we going to see, oh, the Porsche maybe a bit slower than the McLaren expected. Dixon there makes a tag onto Zane Blisket, and they both lose 2 positions. In fact, it looks like Dixon maybe lost 3 positions there. And yes, indeed, Ashley Forrester does capitalize on that mistake. Ashley started in P24, is up 10 positions from where he started. Incredible drive so far from Ashley, it is to be said. Back on with Albert Trangisi. Basically has completed his full lap here and is quite clear of Wilson Fernandez behind. Looks like he has found his own little gap on track, at least in the current moment. Porsche really seemed to get on those brakes. Yeah, I'm not sure, Snoopy. That was definitely a tough one. You know, as much as it is the responsibility of the car behind to not hit the car in front, I don't know what led up to that. I wasn't really... The camera angle that we had didn't quite justify a full decision there, so definitely leaving that one to the stewards. Casey, who started in P6, dropped down to P7 at the start of this race. He's up into P4 at the current moment. 2 laps into this, and he's actually trying to make his way onto the podium. You accidentally just learned something new. Vadik, what did you accidentally just learn? Jace Wright trying to dispatch Ricky Scott. Ricky Scott has had a smasher of a start as well. Up 4 positions. Jace Wright up 5 positions. Been some big gains here on the early laps. You hold the controller left arrow, it skips over. Oh, you mean like, yeah, it moves your cursor around without moving the words around? Is that what you mean? Ooh, yellow flags on track. That's Rally Duchy. Apologies. I'll start to get that one right, I hope. Let's see what happened. Rally in the final corner. Is this just going to be a case of too much throttle? It is. The back end does not agree. Whoa! Big save there from, I think that was Funk. No, that was David Funk isn't in this session, is he? That is... Who was that? Casey. That's Casey in the rusty plastic. Steven Music has had an off as well. Now that's a surprise. Steven Music often with big damage. Bottoms out on that curb and the rear end of that Porsche. Wow! Woohoo! That was, I think, Casey Schutte or Eric Gakassian, I think actually that was, that just managed to breeze by. And energy being thrown the way there of Rally Duchy. He is most certainly going to need it. Down in P19 after that spin. Got some ground to make up with Dixon. Well, I was going to say with Dixon Hurst 4 seconds up the road, No longer Dixon Hurst is in the barrier, which is terrible news for him, but great news for both Joshua and Riley. And actually, that is going to be the end of the race there for our McLaren driver, unfortunately. Dixon, I think, calls it a close this time around. Going to be looking forward into race 2 for a better result. Now, a driver that we haven't touched on since the start of this race was Ollie Raza. Picked up a drive-through penalty on lap 1, bumped down to the back of the field, now in P13. We have battles, though, up here with Ricky Scott and Quinn Smith. They're getting awfully close and too close. Quinn Smith and Ricky Scott have a bit of a tag. Let's get a better view from that one. So we see the Lamborghini having some fun with the McLaren as well. Now Quinn Smith is going to try to get involved, says that's a great idea. Way wide goes Ricky Scott. That's going to be some marbles picked up. And we see as that corner tightens, was there enough room left for Ricky Scott? That will be the decision of the stewards. Very hard to call incidents here tonight, and some incidents that may just be deemed as racing incidents, to be honest. That one, I'm not so sure about. I think somebody may have been at fault. I'm not sure that, though, that was Quinn necessarily. Rally, has taken that extra energy and put it into the wall, unfortunately. More energy will be required for Dutchy in the Street Animals Lamborghini Evo 2. Steven Music in P12, having a fight for 11th. As the Assetto Corsa sign blocks our view fully, Steven in a not-so-showroom-ready 296, flashing his headlights, not because he's flashing his headlights being upset at Stefania, flashing his headlights because when he hits the brakes, he has an electrical fault, and it flashes. That is due to the damage that he has picked up on that Ferrari. So going to be struggling is Steven Music. Kevin Rivera, welcome, welcome. Why are you not out there tonight? You gonna make race 2? Are you in this league? You're in this league. Yeah. Right? Ollie Raza has found the back of Steven Music now. Oh, you only race on Mondays, Kevin? All right, fair enough. My bad. Nicely done. Ollie Raza gets the overtake onto Steven Music. Not much of a fight there. I think Steven had the writing on the walls. We got Jake Wells in chat. Welcome, Jake. Appreciate you. Sending some love. I send my love right back, Jake. Thank you very much. I suck at this over on Twitch if you guys are interested. One of the best North American streamers out there in terms of just watching people go and drive in glorified circles all day. If you're into that sort of thing, he is the man to watch. But obviously, only after Trackalicious is done, in case Jake Wells is live. Lost your love for the GT3 racing, and now you just enjoy GT4s. You know what, Kevin? That's totally understandable, and I'm going to be honest, I feel the exact same way. So I completely understand what you mean. You know, Jake, I don't have to, but I want to. You know, I want to. Side by side, Steven Music has the line and has the overtake as well. Goes a little deep into the corner, but so does Stefania, and that is job done. Wilson Fernandez with the yellow flag, and it looks like a touch of the barrier. There's some front-end damage picked up, maybe even some rear-end damage as well. What has happened to the Brazilian in the Vacuum Racing? So making a charge, that is Ashley Forrester in the McLaren, interestingly. It's a blue flag. And Wilson just loses it in the wake through Pigeon Corner. And the Pigeon, too strong for Wilson Fernandez. I know Bruno Pio is a good buddy of his, in fact, so the Pigeon Racing team I would have expected to have some influence there, but no, not this time. Ricky Scott has been demoted a few positions since the start. In fact, actually only demoted one. He is in a fight here with Ollie. No, that's not Ollie Raza. That is Wilson, isn't it? No, it's Devin Anthony. Devin Small Block Anthony, of course. And Ricky Scott on the charge here. Devin Anthony, not a small block this time around, has a twin-turbo V8 that he is working with. McLaren GT3 Evo, my personal favorite car in the game. I absolutely love it. 4.0-liter twin-turbo, 710 brake horsepower, and 770 newton-meters of torque. And we are seeing two of them have some fun side-by-side on track right now. Devin Anthony doing a good job holding it off. Do you not get royalties every time you... Look, Snoopy. It was genius, I must say. If I was getting any sorts of royalties, Snoopy, you would as well. Just trust me. But unfortunately, we're working to that point. Ricky Scott, for now, though, chasing Devin Anthony, still isn't quite able to make anything happen. It is equal machinery, of course, for the Nause Racing, so a lot tougher to make anything happen there. We'll pop on board with him. Get the best dash in the game. The McLaren Evo, or the McLaren in general, especially the older McLaren, has the best multifunction display out of all of the cars, in my opinion, to the point where I don't even drive really with an in-game HUD when I drive the McLaren, because it just has everything that you need on that dash in front of you, and it displays it better than in-game. So I love this car. Super easy. Not easy to drive, just easy to understand. Now adding the TC2, of course, into this car. I haven't played too much with it. We see here engine map 1 being run. That's going to be the maximum power deliverance. TC2, oh, and a big send from Ricky Scott down the inside. Is going to clip the inside curb, bottoms out, and loses it. That's going to have to be, well, another try for Ricky Scott, and drops 2.5 seconds to boot. And all four, yes, and Vadik also making the comment that literally every single page on the dash is useful. You have it on the brake page. I actually have it on the page that he has not currently. This is the predicted lap time one. I have it on the one that displays brakes. Yes, you're right, Vadik. That's the same one that I have it on. And Jace Wright in the Fuchsia competition out there in spirit for Vadik in P10 currently. Like P12, excuse me. Going to be looking to make up his ground. He's down a position still from where he started. In fact, I'm seeing a noticeable trend here in that the P10 and below all are losers in positions, and P9 and above are all gainers in positions, which is, you don't see that often. So the people up at the front, not quite getting the best start this time around. Of course, our current... Oh, wait, we're in pit stop phase. No, we're not. Yeah, we are. That's why. Never mind. Disregard. We have drivers in the pits currently. Albert Trangisi is in. Casey Schutte is in. Ricky Scott is in. Eric is in P3. Now, going to be leading this race. Look at that American flag on the hood. Which one? I actually missed it. The American flag of which car? Oh, is it? Oh, you know what? What am I talking about? Obviously on this car. Duh. That American flag you're talking about. The Fuchsia competition there. Made by Vadik. Made by Vadik for Vadik, as well as a few other drivers. Jace Wright and Drew Burkowski repping on that team. And Kevin Rivera asking, why don't I race anymore, or why don't I race as much anymore, or really any anymore? I do a little bit of real life stuff every now and then still. Ooh, big send here from Quinn Smith. Is he going to get it done? Jace Wright isn't going to let this position go. Going to be a struggle. And it looks like Jace is going to hold on. Good job there, Jace Wright, putting up a valiant defense. But yeah, so I do a little bit of karting every now and then just for fun, not competitive whatsoever. And commentary is the short answer, you know. There's a longer answer there, but I'll just give you the short one for now, and that I've just dedicated myself more to the commentary side of things than I have the actual racing side of things. But good question, Kevin. It's a question I get quite a lot, too. I know a lot of people out there, they want to race with me, and, you know, I want to race with you guys, too, don't get me wrong. It's just tough, you know, it's tough. I am not as quick anymore, and I don't like being slow, and I need to put the practice in, and I just don't got time to put the practice in. Plus, then if I hit anyone, everyone can come and chat and light me up. So if I don't drive, nobody can do that. You don't need practice? Yeah, that's what you think, Vadik. And would I do comms for a real life broadcast? Yeah, absolutely. That's like my dream. I'd absolutely love to do that. I think I'm going to stick more with the eSports side of things. I've done quite a bit of eSports commentary. Whoa! Chronotis is round, and so is... Oh, no, Devin Anthony's out of the pits. What has happened here to Chronotis? I was looking at chat. Yeah, but Vadik, you're already quick, though. That's the thing. I'm not. I mean, I'm not quick, but I'm not quick, so... Ooh, no assist there. That's just Chronotis getting forced into an error, an unforced error. Forced into an unforced error. Yes, that makes a lot of sense, Mike. Great job. But no, I'd love to do real-life commentary, but I think I'm probably going to stick more with the esports side of things. I've kind of found a good little stride here. I really enjoy the esports community and the just ease of access, really. Quinn Smith in P6, now chasing Jace, or not now, but still chasing Jace down. This has been a long and awaited battle. We see some penalties being served there. I think that was Ashley Forrester making their pit stop. And get quick by racing. That's very optimistic. Yeah, I have full and complete faith in my racing ability. That isn't the question. It's just my driving. Ali Raza lining up an overtake onto CJ Engine. Fun fact for the night, the fastest car on the track in terms of straight line speed is currently Quinn Smith in the Audi at 252 kph. In fact, tied with the AMG. So that German engineering... It's looking awfully strong. Funnily enough, too, the Lamborghini is 2 kph off the Audi. So Casey Schutte is going to be 5th quickest. Join Fuchsia. I wish I had time, Vadik. I wish I had time. Marcel, welcome. Thank you very much for the follow. Hope you're enjoying all this. Big thank you to everyone in chat for sticking around, chatting along in the stream, hitting that follow button. Of course, if you guys do want to show a little more support, you can always hit that subscribe. You get ad-free watching after that, as well as we have a Patreon. Big thank you to all our Patreon members, and a donation page that is just set up with a fun little emote when you donate, and a fun little clip as well. So, thank you all very much for participating in that. You guys are amazing. And a special thank you as well to Jacob Church for everything that he's done. You guys, amazing. I know you're in chat, Jacob, but like, thank you so much. And Ollie, being patient, you can tell. It's very hard to make an overtake into a corner that isn't turn 1. This is the setup, though. We're going to see Ollie go deep, get the maximum exit speed, you gotta maximize the minimum speed onto the straight here, and he actually doesn't do a good job of that. He gets a much poorer exit, and that is going to hinder him for this lap. We're going to see CJ Engine have a look into the first corner onto Anton Wasp, but nothing going to come of it. Zuka the Bazooka has just joined our GT3 reverse grid with the Lamborghini Gallardo. A car that when I was making my document the other day for all of the facts of every car in game, I didn't include the Gallardo because I never thought I would see it. Now I need to go and Google the facts about the Gallardo. Whoa, Ollie Raz is way deep. We also have the 621 of Rally Duchy off again. Really struggling tonight in that Lamborghini. Big tag on the front end. That's going to affect the downforce. Definitely not quite the model they tested in the wind tunnel. The Street Animals, not quite the track for them this time around. Yeah, I will say that reverse grid. Now, for anyone curious what Vadik is talking about, you can type !reverse. No, that's not how you spell that. !reverse in chat. And you can find a link there to our GT3 reverse grid. That's not coming up. We just had our round 1 at Spa-Francorchamps. Of course, Jacob Wells took the win at that track. And my goodness, this league is one of the most exciting leagues I've seen in a long time. If you guys are interested in just pure racing, that is the league. Of course, what is the GT3 reverse grid? It's not just a reverse grid. It is one race in the correct direction. We have one qualifying, and the drivers will qualify, and they'll start the race in qualifying order in race 1. But however, race 2, now that's where things get spicy. We take the finishing order of race 1 and flip it upside down, so the driver that finished in first starts in last, and the driver that finished in last starts in first. That really adds some excitement in both regards, because you have drivers that are sandbagging a little bit in the main race if they have something happen at the beginning, and you also have drivers that are pushing it to take the win in the first race and then pushing it to take the win in the second. It's just, it's spicy, as one bigly Jacob Church has said in chat. And Kevin Rivera says that the Gallardo was the first model that came with the 5.2 liter V10 from the factory. Interesting, I didn't know that. I mean, I'm assuming it's the same 5.2, right? Of course, the same 5.2 liter V10 in the Audi as well. Generating roughly, well actually I'm not sure if that one is, but I know the current one, the 22 edition, is generating about 585 brake horsepower with about 550 newton meters of torque. The Huracan is a successor from the Gallardo, fair enough. And Steven with a hydrate, let's get some caffeine in here. And 5.2 liter V10, what tiny little cylinders? Yeah, but it's got 10 of them though. They also have extremely short strokes. Or maybe these ones have longer strokes, now that I think about it. That would make more sense. You have a smaller cylinder with longer strokes, give you more top end, which the car doesn't really have, does it? So maybe it is on the shorter stroke side of things. I actually don't know that. And 500 horsepower, top speed of 192 for the street version there. Of course, the GT3 model, a little bit different. It is trimmed down. It weighs a lot less, actually, than the road car. Quite a lot less. I don't know how much the road car weighs, but I know that the Lamborghini Evo 2, it weighs about 2,700 pounds, or about 1,200 kilograms. And if you would like to buy one for yourself, you can pick one up for about $450,000 if you are curious, just for another little fact that I have written down about it. Of course, that is not the most expensive car that you can buy on the grid. There is one that takes the cake on that, I'm pretty sure, and that's the Mercedes. The Mercedes Evo is about $620,000. I think that's the most expensive GT3. And 3,000. So wow, they managed to cut off about 50. What is that? About 500 pounds. They managed to cut out 500 pounds. I guess you're cutting out what? Air conditioning. You're cutting out. That car probably doesn't have back seats. You're cutting out one seat at the very least. And a whole load of other shenanigans that aren't needed, like cup holders. Who needs cup holders in a race car? Come on. Even if they are carbon fiber cup holders in the new Lamborghini, and you can pay an additional $3,000 to have carbon fiber cup holders if you are curious. Nissan GTR for the win? You might be right, actually. No, Nissan GTR only $550,000. At least the price that I could find on it. And Vadik's driving the GTR in Pan Am. Oh my goodness. Vadik. I love it. That's awesome. Godzilla. This race has flown by. Our leader is currently crossing the line to begin their final lap. Thank you, race director, for talking over me when I was going to say that, but that's fine. Been quite a quick race. Lots of action out on track, too. Some bumping, some banging, but not too much. I think a very fair amount tonight. It's been all in all a very clean race one. Of course, don't go anywhere, folks, because we have a race 2 after this. We have 45 more minutes of racing on top of what you've already seen tonight. So plenty of action as it stands. Don't go anywhere. We see Quinn Smith dispatching his fellow V10 brother and getting that overtake done through the exit of turn 1. Quinn Smith up into P5. The M6 and the GTR best sounding? For GT3 cars, I think the M6, you're probably right. The M6 probably is the best sound. Maybe, I don't know, I can't remember what the Jag sounds like. I think that thing sounds kind of weird, doesn't it? The Lexus sounds good, though. You gotta love the sound of a 5.0 liter V8. But that's also kind of why I think the M6 sounds good. It's a 4.4 liter V8 twin turbo. But enough of that. We are coming down to a close of race 1. Christian Rousseau. He has not led from lap 1. In fact, he has led from lap 2 after Ali Raza picked up a drive-through penalty at the very start of this race, dropping Ali down all the way down to the bottom of the grid. He's managed to make up some positions, but Christian does not care. Christian only cares that that position was gone, and he takes the win here of round 5, first race tonight. Crosses the line, the number 71 in P1. We have Albert Tranghisi, who had very little practice, taking P2. Nice result from him. Casey Schutte, 3 positions ahead of where he normally finishes on the podium. We'll see if he can mimic that in the next race. Quinn Smith, or excuse me, Vadik, or no. We'll get it eventually. Wilson Fernandez, the Brazilian, comes across the line in P4, and Quinn Smith in 5th. Jace Wright takes 6th. Ali Raza in 7th after a recovery drive with Anton Wass in P8, CJ Engine 9th, Chronotis in 10th, and a battle here to the line between Devin Anthony. Eric Gakassian is holding off this train. Now to the line, it's going to come in order. Eric Gakassian, Devin Anthony, Steven Music, Ricky Scott. He 11 to 14 there. Bit of a flourish. Zane Blisket in 15th, Casey Jackman 16th, and a few other drivers yet to cross the line. Stefan, wishing that they could race, getting busy with the holidays, crafts and fairs. Hey man, I totally understand. Can't wait to see you back out there again though. The Lexus sounds horrible, says Vadik. Okay, you know, Vadik, I can see my opinion doesn't matter. That's fine. I don't know. The Maserati is the best sounding car in the game. That one I just is unarguable for me. I think the Maserati is the best sounding. Of course, that's GT4, but I love it. And thank you, Brandon. Brandon backing me up. You will not tolerate this Lexus slander. I appreciate that. The Lexus does sound good. Now, come on. All my Lexus haters in chat, what are you doing? Of course, we have more Lexus coming up soon with the GT2 Lexus. So we're going to have some more Lexus to come. Also, GT2s in the future. Look forward to that. I can't wait. That's going to be exciting, seeing GT2s. I don't know if they're going to be as popular as GT3s are, though. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. If anyone has any predictions in chat, I'd be interested to hear. Of course, we are going to be heading on into race 2. I don't know why I left the session as... Oh, the server does need to restart. Anyways, if it does or doesn't, we'll get some highlights up in the background. We don't have any interviews until race 2, of course. We are just going to be waiting in the meantime. So, for that to happen. Will Blisket risk it for the biscuit? Asks Snoopy. Well, I don't know. That's not a question for me, quite frankly. It's a question for Zane. I am unsure. And Eric, that was sweaty. Yeah, finishing there. That was a tight finish at the very end. Probably should have been paying a bit more attention. We're about to see, this is the start in which Ali Raza picked up that drive-through penalty. Of course, being out of position. That really spiced up the race here. In terms of our championship standings, I forgot to take a screenshot of those. But we can take a look. Of course, if you are interested, !pitwall or !GT3, you can find a link to this championship directly and head over onto the standings if you guys do want to see it. Ali Raza is leading the standings still after race 1. Skylar Loverink not here tonight, interestingly. That is going to change the points. Skylar Loverink not going to add any total onto his board. Wilson Fernandez may end up overtaking him, in fact. He's currently sitting on 283 points to Skylar's 303. So very tight margins. Bruno Pio also not here tonight in the Pigeon Racing. And the Z4 is the best sounding GT3 V8. Change your mind? Yeah, but the Z4 isn't an ACC though, is it? Right? What is the Z4 is? Wait. Is that the BMW? What's the Z4? Oh, the Z4 is the BMW. I thought it was an M4. No, it's not. What is the Z4? I don't know what the Z4 is. You can't compare real-life sounding cars to in-game sounding cars. Also, the AMG in real life sounds chef's kiss. So that one's just, you can't beat that one. If we're talking real life, of course. But why don't we take a look, see here if that session is back up. I'm sure we are resumed. They're pretty accurate, though. They are pretty accurate. You're absolutely right in that they are actually very, very good. Looking, though, into the next round as we wait here for the server to restart. Ooh, it's going to be a night quali. We have quali underway. Quali 2 has actually already begun. Okay, cool. Well, let's get the cameraman in here and get him to change his settings over so everyone can actually see the game. There we go. And then, after that, we can almost head on into the session. Now, we can head on into the session. We pop on in. You can see some drivers all negotiating the track. Very dark, in fact, as it is going to be at just around midnight. Actually, is midnight here for the qualifying, so we are going to have a 21-degree track temp, very similar to the Vegas Grand Prix this weekend, in fact. I think that's dead even with what it was, actually, during the race, if I'm not mistaken. Someone can correct me on that, but I don't think I'm wrong. course, no spoilers in chat for the Vegas Grand Prix, anyone. I know there's a lot of people that probably haven't watched it yet, so no spoilers. Though, if you haven't watched it yet, it was actually worth a watch. I'll leave it at that. It was much better than I think most people expected. And Kevin, see you tomorrow. Have a good night, Kevin. And Vadik has not watched F1 since round 3. You know, Vadik, you haven't missed much. You missed a couple good races. Like, you know, Brazil. Brazil was pretty good. Other than that, Coda sticks out to me for some reason. Wasn't Coda pretty good, or was that... No, Coda sucked, didn't it? Don't remember. It hasn't been a great F1 season, but the F1 race this time around, easily the best race of the season, says Brandon Pfeiffer. I don't know if I'd agree with that, but it's definitely up there. I might agree with that. I'm not sure. I'd need a refresher of the season before I committed fully, because I think Brazil, if I remember right, Brazil was very good, but there's a few other ones. How do you report stewards? In regards to Trackalicious, Forzy? Because I'm sure you can have a word with Eric Gakassian. I just have a word with Eric Gakassian. I think that's going to be your best bet there. If you do have any stewarding questions, or if you're willing to contest a report, I think there's another way you can do that. But just message Eric. That's going to be your best bet. Form is pinned on the Sunday chat. There we go. Eric messaging that in chat. Perfect. And there's the form. Yep, perfect. There we go. That's how you do it. Currently, Ali Raza up on pole position. Casey Schutte going to be behind him. Casey putting on the deliverance this week. Now, I was talking with Casey, just me and him in the Discord the other day. He's been saying, you know, as much as the P6 meme... Oh, okay, Casey, calm down. Let's not lose the back end of that Lamborghini here in this point in qualifying. But especially when I'm trying to talk you up. Let's not get any curses here. He has been a little tired of that P6 thing, you know? I mean, it's all fun and games. We're all joking about it, of course. But, you know, it does get to him at the end of the day where it's the reality, not the dream. And he's been putting in the practice, I think, to improve his pace. He wants to make that P6, well, turn into some podiums. And he did it last time around. And I think he is going to be trying once again tonight to be doing that. Of course, he did qualify in P6. That is to be said, so do not forget that. Speaking of dash pages from earlier, you hate the Lambo Evo 2. It only has one dash page, and it doesn't have all the info. I will admit, man, the Lamborghini just spoiled me. When it comes to dash choice, like the Lamborghini or the McLaren was one of the first cars that I drove. So pretty much any car that I go to, I just hate the dash. I mean, it's the McLaren Evo 2. I don't know. I mean, it's just McLaren, I guess. They had to probably have about 2 years of committee meetings just to decide what was on each page. And there's a reason for that. They had 2 years of committee meetings and it worked out. It was good because they did that. That's just the way McLaren does things. Nothing is put on those cars for no reason. BMW dash is useless. Yeah, the AMG dash is all right. If I remember, I think the GT3 AMG dash is all right. And the Aston's useless. Yeah. And dash and cockpit are generally so underappreciated. You're absolutely right, Stroker. No, 100. Yes, a good cockpit and dash are the most. They're severely underrated because you have all the in-game things that pop up on your HUD, but I don't like having my screen filled with a million things, so I like to have everything in one place. For example, my dash, you know, my multifunction display where my information should be. And that's just the way I like it. I know some other people may differ. They might like to have things on their screen, but I think the option for both should be there. And Vadik agreeing with that. Have almost no HUD on? Yeah, I hate having my HUD on. It's just distracting. There's too much going on. I have the gap to the car in front of me and behind me, and I have my lap times on my dash. I got my tire temperatures on my dash. Actually, my tire temperatures are in the bottom right as well, because that one's not too bad. No speedo. You just don't need it. All unnecessary fluff. Just like cup holders, as I said earlier. Cup holders in race cars. Just about as useful as that. Or about as useful as a speed bump on a runway. No lap times? No. I mean, my lap times are on my dash. I like to know my previous lap. And sometimes I'll switch it on if I want to know what my lap times are. But I typically, that one I have on my hand to turn off at all times. Turn on and off. So that one I toggle. Just depends. Cup holders are very important. Not behind the wheel of a GT3 car, Snoopy. In your day-to-day road car, yes, I agree. But you definitely aren't going to see any cup holders behind the wheel of this car. In fact, you see about nothing. There is no amenities whatsoever for this Ferrari. One thing I do know, though, the BMW M2, as well as the Jetta, I think those cars have air conditioning, if I'm not mistaken. Need to figure out a way to make a drink button. I will say, cup holders are pretty important for a rig, yes. Most of these cars have AC. Not the race version of them. The road version, yes, but the race version, no. They do? No. If you find some if you fact check me on that one, I'll believe you. But there's no way. The G55 does. I know the I'm pretty sure. Actually, you know what? Now that you mention it, might just be the G56, but it's in the homologations? I mean, if it is, like I say, I don't know why it would be. It seems unnecessary. Why would you need AC? Just adds weight. And takes away from the power of the engine, technically, because you're using the engine to spin the belt. Because it gets hot? That's for drivers to deal with. It's not the engineer's problem. Engineers just build cars to go fast. Come on. No, I'm kidding, but fact check me on that one. I'm curious. You know for a fact that the Ferrari, Lambo, and Jag have AC? Alright, fair enough. Check inside the Porsche. We can check inside a Porsche. Let's see. Christian Rousseau. Man, there ain't no AC in here. There ain't no AC in this thing. Look at him. He's sweating. We'll take a look at the livery while we're in this mode. Why not? They have AC by mandate? Seriously, it is in the homologations. Really, Chrono? Okay. Fair enough. Porsche, Aston, and M4 have a box on the dash for AC being on or off. Really? I mean, if Chrono has... I'm assuming Chrono has fact-checked it by the fact that he's typing, so... Oh, and we also have MCN requires AC as an option. Most teams never run it due to the power leach. Okay, so that makes sense. That tube be blowing. Zoom into the top left of the Porsche dash. It says AC0. Okay, I'll do that. Oh, whoops. Is that what that means, though? I mean, I'm assuming AC0. Yeah, you must be right, but fair enough. I've just never thought of that. But you're right, it does. You heard it in Bathurst 24-hour broadcast, says Chrono. Well, there we go. Apparently I was wrong. I didn't think these cars had AC. Why would that be in the homologations? That doesn't make any sense, but okay. Let's just put a thing that takes power away from our car onto our car. Yes. Holy smoke, Stephen Buckley. Happy birthday, dude. 72? That's a few trips around the sun, my dude. Congratulations. I hope everything is all well for you. I hope you had a great day as well, and hope you celebrated that. Deservedly so. Heard it from Dave Perel back in 2018. I trust the people that know what they're talking about, and that is Chrono and Vadik. The fact that both of you guys are on it, yeah, I believe you. Yeah, big shout out there to Stephen Buckley. As we have it, none of the odd plates have made it into the top 10 yet. None of the odd plates have set a time yet. That's why. Wait, no, they haven't. What? Why the odd plates have not set a time yet? Struggling, I guess, out there for some of these drivers. Stefania has managed to put a time on the board. Okay, now the times are starting to come in. Here we go. CJ Engine up into P7 in the AMG. And Tranghese coming up in 2 weeks. Everyone should join the Max Rain Flooded event. It just went live for SimGrid. Okay, so what Chrono has just said, if you guys want to head on over to SimGrid, we have put on a Max Rain event. Now, that is going to be over at Silverstone, if I'm not mistaken. Want to double check before I confirm that Chrono is on Silverstone, right? And it has one of the best thumbnails as well that has been added in terms of our SimGrid. So make sure you guys go check that out. It is over on Silverstone. I was correct. You think? Yeah, I also think, Trango, that everybody invalidated their first lap. That's crazy. I think Stefania was the only valid lap for the odd plates for a while there. So nighttime qualifying, catching some of these drivers out. The grip not quite there in terms of track temp, very cold. Gonna be tough to get heated up. Of course, after a few laps, they should be more than good, getting those core temperatures up to standard. But it'll be a bit of a struggle. Nobody getting to the likes of Ali Raza. Ali Raza, a good margin ahead. 142.9 is the time to beat. 0.8 ahead of Albert Tranghese. Trango in chat right now. Welcome, Trango. And Wilson Fernandez in P3. About 1.17. Oh, wow. Nice lap. CJ Engine putting it together there. In fact, the margins are very tight between P3 all the way down to P7. There's just a couple tenths separating those drivers, so anything can really happen in this mid-pack. CJ Engine, he just has about, 1/10 to gain to make it onto the podium, but a few more tenths if he can manage to put that together, and he'll bump Albert Tranghese down into P3. Did 2-year laps in turn 5? Yeah, turn 5's turn 4 into turn 5. The pigeon corner into the corner that we're looking right now. The exit you can wash wide onto. You can also invalidate into the back sector. And invalid laps are normal at Hungaroring. Yes, they most certainly are. They're for everyone. It's a tough track. It's tough track of the best of times, as I said earlier, and we are not in the best of times right now. It is a night qualifying with a cold track. Definitely a struggle for these drivers, and it's showing. Even with the rubbered-in conditions that we have, only one of the odd plate drivers has managed their way into the top 10. I take that back. Anton Wass has proven me wrong. He is in the top 10, but also in the pits as an odd plate driver. So that looks like that's the end of his qualifying. There will be no more improvement there. In fact, pretty much all the odd plates are in the pits. You can see on the left-hand side, everyone's done. They've had enough, and that really could set out the difference. Christian Rousseau, he was in P16 right now. Now that is surprising. We, of course, saw Christian in P2 at the start of last race. Something is up, and not able to get that time in. Maybe he can this time. In fact, he's on an absolute flyer this time. So is Vadik. In fact, Vadik is going to be the next driver to the line. Let's keep an eye on him. In the Fuchsia competition, eSports, you can see those pipes glowing in the night. As he screams down the half-mile straight, will begin one more lap. He jumps into P11. I was expecting a little bit better, but still nothing to shake a stick at. Behind that, we have Christian Rousseau, who's approaching Stefano Rinaldi. Stefano Rinaldi is not on a lap currently, is on an invalid lap, but going to get in front here of Christian Rousseau. Maybe even give him a little bit of a tow to the start-finish line. That could help. To the line, Christian Rousseau, 9th quickest. That was a good lap. Something is up with these track conditions. Something has gotten worse since the first qualifying, or since the first drivers were out, and I'm not sure what that is. Looking at the temperature, nothing has changed there. So in theory, we really only should see improvements. And there it is, right there. CJ Engine invalidates his lap in front of our eyes. So that's his pole position attempt thwarted. Vadik will have another chance. Evens rules, says Ricky Scott. Also, Stephen Buckley, you got a lathe and a bandsaw for your birthday? Dude, I'm jealous. Like a metalworking lathe? That's sick. I want a lathe. I don't have anywhere to put it, but I want one. No socks for you. Hey, that's Christmas, right? There's a wood lathe. Okay, a wood lathe. Still, I'd take a metal or a wood lathe. And a big bandsaw. Awesome. That's super cool. Vadik here to the line. P12 to P8. P9. Play on the odd side of the tracks. So does Stefano Rinaldi. Stefano Rinaldi is actually on a cracker of a lap too. He needs to be. He's 9 seconds off the pace of pole position, so this lap needs to be put together, and it looks like it will. He is 9/10 off of Rally Duchy. Now to the line. What's it going to be? It will be quicker. Goes into 19th. Nice job there. Stefano Rinaldi cutting off 2 seconds from his lap time. Great lap. Track felt horrid, says Vadik. Yeah, the lap times definitely make sense for what you just said. I agree. The track looked bad. At least for the second part, which is, like I said, very interesting. I'm not sure how that managed to happen, but hey, it is what it is. And yes, daytime. The drivers can have a little bit of a relief. They can breathe a sigh of relief for the moment in knowing that they are not going to have to negotiate the next 45 minutes in pitch black conditions. But let's get in here and let's meet our drivers for this session. Starting here in P1 once again. In fact, it's going to be the exact same front row lockout that we had in race 1. It's going to be Ali Raza starting off on pole position, the number 30 Pakistan Zinabad Ferrari 296. Next to him, Albert Tranghisi in the Tranghisi designed livery here, the Ferrari 296. It's a prancing horse front row lockout with Quinn Smith behind in the Audi in P3. CJ Engine going to be rounding out 4th there in the AMG. The CJ Engine Works, the Canadian, with Wilson Fernandez, the Brazilian driver company, in 5th. Ricky Scott going to be 6th quickest in the number 84 with Casey Schutte in P7 behind the number 444. Jace Wright going to be bringing up row 4, the P8 driver in the number 24 Fuchsia Competition Esports with Vadik, his sister car company, in P9. Christian Rousseau rounding out our top 10 with Steven Music Company in P11, the 466296 in the Picasso Design Rebellion. Anton Waus in P12 in the AMG CJ Engine Works with Professor Chronotis, the Canadian company, in P13. 14th quickest will be Casey Jackman in the Rusty Plastic 808 with Zane Blistic in the Mad Fox in P15. Devin Anthony, 16th quickest in the Rockefeller Racing with Eric Gakasi and company in P17. Stefania Blaskovic in the Scuderia Ferrari, the Polish driver, in 18th. Stefano Rinaldi in the Conquest Racing, the Italian Stallion, in P19, the number 87. Rally Duchy, the Street Animals, number 20, going to be looking to have a little bit better time around the track, hopefully this time rounding out our top 20 with Jaeger Karu Company in the Honda NSX in P21. Last but not least here, it is going to be Ashley Forrester in the Scuderia Toro Rosso McLaren Evo 2, the number 994 British driver. Ashley made up quite a few positions in the last race. We'll see if he can manage the same again. Ollie Raza leading us away here as the cars start up and get ready to go green. Well, not green yet. We have a 2.7 mile outlap ahead of us, of course, with 14 corners, 6 to the left, 8 to the right, 35 meters of elevation change. And as I said, 2.7 miles ahead of us before we go green here for race 2 of the main event tonight, our GT3 Series 30-45 doubleheader. We just saw Ollie Raza pick up a drive-through penalty at the start. He is going to be trying to do the, well, polar opposite of that and not get a drive-through penalty. And guessing Ollie will be extra careful here. Yes, I predict that. And Forzy with a 5-second penalty again. Forzy, I unfortunately am not sure on that one. Yeah, I would have a talk with the stewards if you do have any questions. I'm definitely not the one for that. And everybody in chat trying to keep Ollie honest. I'm sure he knows. I don't think he will ever live this down, and he will be hearing this for the rest of his life, that yes, Ollie Raza got a drive-through penalty at the start when on pole position. So if you guys go and laugh at him in the Discord, just make sure you say that Mike Nause sent you, so, you know, he knows. 5 seconds would be from the previous week, Jacob, yes. Now, if I'm assuming Ashley does not believe that he has earned that 5-second penalty, so could be miscommunication, could be something else. I'm not sure. Like I say, I'm not the person for that. Ollie, though, clear tarmac ahead of him. Going to want to keep it that way. Albert Tranghisi, though, very quick driver. Definitely could be snatching it from Ollie at the beginning. Do not count him out at all. Now, can he hold on to it for the 45 minutes? That I don't know. Tranghisi, he said he hasn't had any practice here. I almost don't believe him. As he seems quite quick. Maybe the Hungaroring is just a strong track for him. Maybe a strong track for the Ferrari. I wouldn't have guessed that, personally. The Ferrari doesn't seem like it would be particularly strong here. But, hey, anything can happen in racing, and it normally does. The McLaren definitely not looking strong here. No surprise in that department. But Ferrari front row lockout. And the Audis up at the top as well. The Audis should be very strong here. This is a track the Audis, I would think, would be very, very good. But now as the drivers line up 2x2 Noah's Ark formation, to get ready to go green here. Ollie Raza on pole position with Albert Tranghisi behind. Going to be trying to avoid that drive-through penalty for all drivers at the start. I'm Mike Nause in the booth. We have 45 minutes on the clock ahead of us here at the Hungaroring round 5 of the championship. And we are green, green, green now, heading out into the first corner, and it's an amazing start for Ollie Raza. He is gone. Going to be a bit of a sleeper from Albert Tranghisi, immediately 3 wide as we see Quinn Smith and CJ Engine having a look onto the inside. CJ on the out, late on the brakes though, goes Albert Tranghisi, manages to hold it for now. Quinn Smith having a look onto the inside. It's going to be a tough one if Quinn can manage this. Looks like as we come into the next quarter, it will be the outside line. Is going to go late enough onto the brakes. He should have this position, but he's wide once again. Quinn Smith, all too familiar with that part of the track as he was last time, manages to keep it between the mayo and the mustard, though. Now, through towards Pigeon. It's going to be Quinn Smith under threat from Wilson Fernandez. Wilson, though, not going to make anything too outrageous happen. Casey Schutte is going to overtake CJ Engine. CJ drops down into P6. Big send from the Nause Racing there of Ricky Scott. Ricky Scott immediately takes that advantage, and Jace Wright follows him through along with Vadik Konstantiev. CJ Engine is going backwards at the start of this race. Side by side into the chicane goes Ricky Scott and Jace Wright. Ricky Scott ends up off onto the outside. That's going to pick up some crucial marbles on the tires. His grip already going to be minimal with low tire heat on first lap. Now with the extra marbles, definitely not going to help him out there. Oh, a little bit, very close actually, as we see Jace Wright get by. Vadik tries to make an advantage over Ricky Scott, almost makes contact, but he does get the overtake done handedly. Ricky Scott is now the driver going backwards. So far, though, a clean lap 1 for the most part. We see a few drivers in the back. I think that is Devin Anthony, Raleigh Ducci, and Stefano Rinaldi. I think they must have got caught up in something. I actually missed that, but they are way too far behind for that to not be true. We have Anton Wass side by side with CJ Engine, the 2 AMGs having a bit of fun on lap 1. Nothing going to come from it, and Christian Rousseau, who was our previous race winner, down in P12, stuck behind the 2 AMGs. And does doubleheader mean double penalty? That I don't know. Like I said, I am not the one to discuss penalties with. Forzy up 6 positions. Forzy clearly is on a bit of a head-down charge and not going to be too happy with that 5-second penalty. Well, is just going to turn that 5-second penalty into pace and make it up on track. So good for Forzy. Hopefully they can keep that up. Wilson Fernandez all over the bit. Or no, that's Quinn Smith, excuse me. Quinn Smith is all over. Wilson, calm, cool, and collected, sticking in that slipstream for right now. Going to be just trying to force Quinn into some sort of error. Has plenty of time to make an overtake happen as well. Sharpenberry. Hello, fellow trackhead. Makes it sound like it's a problem. And energy being given the way of Ashley Forrester. He's going to need that, as I said. Let's take a little bit of a look. I know you didn't do the livery deep dive, but we're going to go for a little livery deep dive to give Ashley some energy. See those Toro Rosso, the charging, well, I was going to say charging bull. That's kind of the Lamborghini thing. But hey, it's a Red Bull, so it's a charging bull, I suppose. I mean, that bull, I would say, is charging, so. And it gives you wings. Let's hope Forzy doesn't take that too literally tonight, as he has in the past. Going to be trying to keep all 4 on the tarmac, though, for the foreseeable future. Liv Solis, welcome, welcome. And even more energy being thrown the way of Ashley. Ashley has the entirety of the fans on their shoulders there, so you love to see that. Rooting Ashley on. And to be honest, I want to see him make some positions up too. Turn that 5-second penalty into pace. Basically, pull a Daniel Ricciardo. That's your best bet. Up ahead, looks like there may be some team orders in play here for the Fuchsia competition team. Jace Wright is behind Vadik. Now, I've said it before, but rule number 1 of racing is don't hit your teammates. Rule number 1, really, like the number 1 rule, is don't hit your team principal. So Jace Wright, going to need to be taking that one a little bit seriously here as Vadik ahead, of course, the team principal over at Fuchsia Competition. Definitely not going to want to be ending up in the side panel of him. CJ Engine in P10, going to be looking to make a P9 here soon. On to the final corner. Is going to be setting this up. Can hop on board. Actually gets a bit of a poor exit compared to the 296. Steven Music is also going to be going for a move. In fact, we see him tuck out of the slipstream of Ricky Scott. Only just a look, though. Doesn't make anything happen. The 2 AMGs behind, going to be getting a little impatient. And I think Steven Music, he is going to be wanting to get by very, very soon. CJ, done a good job so far, it's to be said. He is down 6 positions from where he started. Had an incredible qualifying result in P4. Hasn't been able to keep up with it in terms of race pace. Not sure why, but has found a stride in P10 so far. Looking to keep that and improve it a little bit by the end. That would be nice to make up a few more positions, but hey. I mean, it is what it is, basically. Also, interestingly, our fastest driver on track currently, Wilson Fernandez, in terms of straight line speed, 3 kph off of where we saw him in the previous race. So even with a slipstream, we are not seeing that lap time or the time improved. So the track is just all around slower than it was in the previous race. Now, why this was, or why this is, could be a variety of reasons, really. It is a 36-degree track temp, so very, very warm. We've gone from 20 degrees in terms of the qualifying to 36 in the race. That's quite the difference. Even 1 or 2 degrees you can really feel in terms of your tires. Now, when you're going over 10 degrees difference, really it's all up in the air in terms of your strategy. And side by side to the inside goes Steven Music. It looks like this should be job done and dusted, but Ricky Scott is going to get the power down, and he will have the inside line for the next corner. So they remain 2x2, or they remain side by side for now. Looks like Steven should eke this out as we come through this right-hander. I think he will take the advantage. Ricky Scott, though, sticks with him, and we're 3 wide now, heading down towards Pigeon. There's bumping and banging all around as the CJ Engine tries to get involved. The Nause Racing of Ricky Scott takes the advantage. I think there was contact there from the Ferrari that sent Ricky Scott wide. Ricky on the rejoin with marbles on his tires, ends up coming in too hot, loses the back end, is now stranded on the side, down 5 positions into P14. CJ Engine, though, has to keep an eye now. Steven Music is the road in front of him to himself. But CJ Engine going to be wanting to dispatch him very, very quickly. Now that heated up extremely fast here tonight, and it looks like Ricky Scott is still shocked by what happened and stranded on the side. Let's see if we can go back and get a replay of that. I'm going to go back a minute. So this is side by side. We're going to have a minute of a replay here, everyone. We see Ricky Scott on the inside. We're about to approach the problem point. So we already have a little bit of contact there between Ricky. So now the AMG just adds a whole nother level into this equation. CJ realizes pretty quickly that he wasn't supposed to be there, backs out, but the job was the damage was already done, and it was too late for Ricky Scott to uncommit. And as a result, Steven Music there has a little bit of a tap on the rear end, sends him round, and is going to take that position. That's going to be one for the Stewards. Stewards got a lot of work in this session. He timed out for that one. Joker laps being taken by several drivers, yeah. And Ricky Scott, there's too much shake and bake. Too much shake and bake. Yes, that was a little too much shake and bake, unfortunately. Ricky Scott going to be enjoying the views as the cars come by on track. That is Ricky Scott's perspective right now. and not a perspective you want to see. Stefania Blaskovic battling with Ashley Forster. Ashley makes up another position. Up 8 positions from where they started. Yeah, Ricky. I will agree with you on that one. You know, if gap car, but that, if car gap, yes. If car gap. Yeah. Just make sure you report your incidents, Ricky. Be my best piece of advice on that one. CJ is going to remain in it. He's in 9th with Wilson Fernandez in 8th, and Steven manages to hold 7th, which is absolutely crazy. Yeah, Ricky, like I say, man, I'd just report your incidents on that one. Yeah, we caught it all. That was, yeah, very ambitious, I will admit, from CJ Engine. I mean, the gap was there, to be fair. The gap was there. The contact, that was a bit unnecessary. You never like to see people hitting each other in a straight line. That's a bit, we'll call it as it is, amateur. Yeah, you never want to see contact in the straight line, quite frankly. It just shouldn't be a thing, so. Bad place to do any passing, yes. That is also true. That is not a corner that warrants overtaking. And really doesn't warrant 3-wide action. So, but anyways, we'll drop that. Moving on. Let's, like I say, Ricky, what happened. It sucks. You know, I feel for you, man. Just report your incidents. That's my best piece of advice for you on that one. And head up in the next race, and I'm sure you'll do fine, you know. Is what it is. It sucks being taken out like that, but like I say, moving on. Jace Wright in P6 with his sister car in front, Vidic. They've remained in this order for quite the while now, with Quinn Smith in front, battling with Trangisi. It's 1.3 seconds currently, so not much of a battle, just kind of sticking with him. We will be approaching that pit stop phase come about another 8 minutes, another 10 minutes. We'll see if the drivers do decide to start coming in the pits. Even now would be a fairly early stop if the drivers do decide to do so. It's very possible, though. Anton on the outside. Not going to get anything done. Zane Blisket holds the position for now. Zane Blisket, gotta say, is quite the defender. Really making a good stand in the Trackalicious leagues. Gotta say, I'm a big fan of Zane Blisket. Anton there in the background, we saw miss his braking marker by a little bit. That's going to be some time to make up. But the Mad Fox Racing here of Zane Blisket. Of course, if you guys are interested in VTubers, Zane Blisket over on Twitch, he does some VTube streaming. So if you're looking for a good VTuber streamer, I'd highly recommend checking him out. Him, I think Karu also, and a few other of the drivers in this race tonight are all involved in that community. So very cool community over there, I gotta say. Big shout out to you guys. Wilson Fernandez has found the back bumper of Steven Music. Wilson is out of position. What has happened here? Why is he down 3 positions? I think we missed that, or I'm forgetting. One of the two. Both are very possible. But nonetheless, Wilson is behind Steven Music. Now, Steven has shown his defense, although we've also seen some offense from Wilson. Wilson is one that can get it done. Now, on to the start-finish straight. Is he going to line it up into the first corner? Be quite the ask if he does. About a half second behind. Is going to need quite the slipstream and quite the overspeed. We see Sword and Keyboard rating us. Welcome, Sword and Keyboard. Appreciate it. Hope your stream went well. Also, Devin Anthony side by side with Ashley Forrester. Devin wants this position back. Ashley took this at one point. Now, as we go down the straight, Devin Anthony on the unfavorable line, late on the brakes on the outside, is going to go deep enough, but we see Ashley wash a little bit deep. That's going to have some contact there. Devin Anthony not going to be too happy. More bumping and banging. Very interesting. I said before, let's not see some contact in straight lines. That's not ideal. Stefania Blaskovic behind is just biding her time and waiting as well. We see into the corner, the right-hander. Devin Anthony does get the pass fully done. Stefania is going to be trying to make a move into Pigeon. A big squeeze from Ashley, not going to let her onto the outside, but there's contact. Stefania hits the back end there of Ashley. Big save from Forrester, managing to keep it on track. Good job there from Ashley. That could have been absolutely, well, race ending, to be completely honest. And did an AI race today. Nice. Sorting keyboard. Hope your stream went well. Hope you're having a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning as well, wherever you are in this fine world. You're joining us here on lap 9 of race 2. Here in TRACKILICIOUS. This is, of course, round 5 of our GT3 series, as well as our Porsche Cup Support series, which we saw earlier. We see a lot of drivers now making their pit stops around pretty early, actually. Those are our early stoppers. We have some already as well that have made stops. Stefano Rinaldi, Christian Rousseau, Professor Chronotis, Jaeger Karu, and Rally Dutchy have all made their stops. Need a big sign. No passing zone. Yeah. Maybe you could work one of those up on your new lathe. That'd be a good task for that. Was I streaming the P-Cup race earlier? Yes, I was, but I was also late to streaming the P-Cup race, so if you did miss the start of that, well, that was why, is because it wasn't live for a while, and my apologies for that. Hey, Snoopy, I pay attention. Well, yours says... No, yours doesn't say no passing zone. What does yours say? Yours says something different, Snoopy. It says, please don't hit me, doesn't it? Doesn't yours say, or is that somebody else? That might be Casey Schutte, actually, now that I think about it, that has an Aston Martin. Somebody has an Aston Martin, I think, that says, please don't hit me on the back of it in green text. Is that not you, Snoopy? No, it says 6 feet away. One says no passing. Okay, interesting. I'll have to pay attention to that then. Which car is that? Is that on your Jannetta? I know somebody has please don't hit me. Can never get close enough to his bumper to see it. You know, Jacob, baby steps, baby steps. Yes, Thomas Snoopy, not the slowest boy on the block. Stefania Blaskovic catching up with Ashley Forrester. This is for P13 still. Ashley, though, with a 5-second penalty, that'll have to be served at the pit stop. Currently is about 26 seconds ahead of Stefano Rinaldi, so Ashley will be losing the position as it currently stands to Stefania, but will retain that P14. Now, that 5-second penalty will be served at the pit stop beforehand. They'll need to be remaining stationary for 5 seconds before they are lifted onto the jack and can proceed with their stop. This is Rally Duce getting lapped by Ollie Raza. Our race leader has found our P last. Ollie has taken away about 7.5 seconds to Albert Tranghisi as well during this. Pay no mind to the teleporting Lamborghini on the start-finish straight as well. Behind, Wilson Fernandez still has not made an overtake onto Steven Music. This has been a long time coming, and Wilson just seems to not be able to get the overspeed onto that 296. The Ferrari in terms of straight line pace, is not quicker than Wilson. In fact, Wilson has a 1 kph advantage over the 296, in fact, over Steven Music. But not able to use it. 1 kph, of course, is not enough to really make a big send into the first corner with a massive overspeed. You need a good 5 or 6 kph difference for that dream to become any sort of reality. And so far, Wilson, it's been but a pipe dream for him. Can pop on board, though, with the Audi driver. Let's just see what it's like as he struggles through Pigeon. Now on to the right-hander of turn 5. Steven Music, been very comfortable, it's to be said, in the in the Ferrari. Oof, that Lamborghini was approaching. That's took my mind off that. But nonetheless, the Cavallina Rampanti in front. Steven Music there in the 466. Doing everything he can to keep Wilson behind, which Wilson Fernandez definitely, as you would expect, a top 3 driver in this league. That is no slouch to keep him behind. And P8888 is considered lucky in Asia, or at least Taiwan. I love it. And 888 is the number that you always use. See, I'm a double-digit guy myself. I don't like having a triple-digit number for myself. I'm a 10 or I'm an 11. Those are my 2 go-tos. Why? I don't know. I literally have no reason, to be completely honest. It's just, well, my racing number from when I was a child has been 10, so that's that one. It's explained pretty easily. It's also considered God's number, really. 888? Fair enough. I did not know that. Double and single numbers are all taken? Yeah, I know what you mean. Casey Schutte out of the pits and in P10. We are now going to start to see the drivers really come in for their pit stops. This should be the majority of drivers coming in within a lap or 2, I presume. Ali Raza might even hold it out. Nope, isn't going to. Is going to come in this lap. So, pretty expected at this point. We're going to see the majority of these drivers knock out their final stop tonight. In terms of tire changes, we are seeing a varied strategy in that regard. Some drivers opting for tires, some drivers opting not. Most of them, as it seems though, are opting for tires. And in a 45-minute race, I don't think that's necessary. I go back to it. In the Porsche Cup race, I don't think you needed it in 35. In a GT3, even at Hungaroring, I don't know though. It's 37-degree track temp. Woohoo! It's cooking out there. Maybe you do. Maybe your tires are going to need a new set of boots before the end. I don't know. Justin, welcome. Saying, woo, let's get it. Yes, indeed. Let's get some hype in the chat, everyone, for these final moments of this race. We're getting down to the final 20 minutes. Steven Music, what has happened here? Steven hasn't put a wheel wrong this entire time. Now it looks like disaster has struck for the 466. Coming into the chicane, bottoms out on the first part, and the back end just goes pirouetting straight into the wall. And on rejoin, even has a second pirouette, just to add insult to injury. And Ali Raza out of the pits in P7, ahead there of, well, that's not Stefania Blaskovic, that is the NSX of Jäger Karu. And hello from ORL. Welcome. Wilson Fernandez out. Hello from TRACKILICIOUS. Yours is just your area code, 253? Yo, Jacob, you can't be giving out that some anonymity. Be like, yeah, I use my social security number as well when I, you know, for my driver number and my SimGrid ID. And Snoopy is the birth year 63, and your spouse's birthday is 61, so 613. Okay, awesome. That's actually kind of cool. A little bit of lore there behind Thomas Snoopy's number plate. Good old Darren Thomas. Very quick driver. Love to see you out in chat, Darren. Thank you for supporting us. 4 million people like in my area code. Good luck finding someone. Look, you know. 4 million people in your area code? Where the heck do you live? Mexico City? New York? Like, that's a lot of people in one area code. Connecticut? Yo, I don't think there's 4 million people that live in Connecticut. Is there? No, there's 4 million people that live in Connecticut. What am I talking about? No, there isn't. There isn't even 4 million people that live in Connecticut. Sword and Keyboard dropping straight lies in chat, everyone. Who would have thought someone on the internet lied? No. They all live in 203. All 3.6 million of them. Hey, I guess if we're rounding, you know. Now, just a little reminder for anyone that wasn't here earlier. I haven't gone through it in a while. Of course, we have our calendar. We'll go over that real quick for anyone that is interested in any events that we have coming up. We are getting down to the closing minutes of this race, so let's go over this real quick. Of course, we have our GT3 Championship, which you're watching right now with our Porsche Cup Series as support. We have Round 2 coming up on December 3rd. That'll be at Spa-Francorchamps. Plenty of practice time if you guys are interested in getting in any of these leagues. And all of these leagues can be found over on SimGrid, link in chat. Also, Maserati Madness coming up, and Max Rain in Britain. That's going to be all rain, as that one's going to be fun. 2020 doubleheader. 30:45 for the Maserati Madness. Really looking forward to that one at Kyalami. Also, GT4 Rookie Series coming up at Brands Hatch. That'll be on the 27th with our Open Series for the Patrons to boot. More on that in a minute. We have our GT3 Reverse Grid also, which is super exciting. We got a Gallardo signed up. Zuka the Bazooka has decided to take to some fun off-meta cars, and there's a lot of drivers out there that do the same. Very fun 2020 doubleheader with our Reverse Grid involved. Lots of fun. Also, speaking of the Patreon Championship that I mentioned before, massive shout out to our patrons. Of course, signing up on Patreon gives you access to our Patreon League, which we run on Mondays. Other ways to join by contacting Eric Gakassian. But these are all of our supporters on Patreon, and I love every single one of you. Thank you guys so much. It not only earns a ticket to the GT4 League, it earns a ticket to my heart. And big thank you for that on everyone here. Now, back on into the action. With the next 16 minutes and 44 seconds remaining, we have a battle on track. Wilson Fernandez, Jace Wright, and Vadik Kostitsiev. Also, Anton Wass, Zane Bliskett, and Casey Jackman. So far, been quite the thriller. Absolutely exciting racing all around from every race, to be completely honest. And the GT3 series never really failing to deliver. So like I said before, if you guys are interested in joining, now is the time, especially up next at Spa. We have a 2-week break. You got plenty of practice time to get in here with these big names. And also, of course, in the TRACKILICIOUS Discord, just by itself, we have plenty of members that are just in there all the time practicing. You can see their names. They'll just be chilling in there. And feel free to pop in if you have any questions or advice that you'd like to have. A lot of the drivers, very talented drivers here at TRACKILICIOUS, are more than happy to help when it comes to mentoring. Casey was going to be on the bumper there of Anton onto the start-finish straight, but had a bit of a poor exit. Now, Anton having a look to the inside of Zane Blisket for the first quarter, but he's a bit too far back to make any sort of send happen there. Sticking with him for now. Behind, Devin Anthony is under pressure from Steven Music. The Ferrari 296 and the McLaren Evo 2. The McLaren hasn't been strong here tonight. Definitely to be said. It's a very strong car over at Spa. We have no BOP here in Trackalicious. So, at Spa-Francorchamps, we may or may not see some McLarens breaching ridiculous straight-line speeds. Casey Jackman on the outside of Anton, though. Anton doing a great job of defense. That AMG being extra wide today. It already is an extra wide car. Too much curb for Casey there. That is allowed him to go straight on at the chicane and lose about a few tenths, maybe 2 or 3 tenths there to Anton, and is going to have to gain that back to try that overtake again. Jace Wright also reeling in Wilson Fernandez. That actually has been a position change. Wilson was behind Jace at one point. Now, Jace Wright going to be at the worst end of the view there. Has to take a look at that Audi diffuser, which he does not want to see. He, of course, wants to be ahead following his sister car, Vadik. So far, though, Wilson, I'm not sure I would want to be the meat in this fuchsia sandwich. Steven Music, yellow flag as well. What has happened here? He was having a battle with Devin Anthony. You can see Steven Music way late on the brakes there, trying to send it down the inside. Devin does not leave any space, which he did not have to. There was no fully alongside there for Steven Music. At least at first glance, it didn't look to be, I should say. It might have been, but once again, another one for the stewards that is, at least at first glance, that one looked fairly decisive, but it could go the other way if I missed it. Stephen Buckley, just north of One Bigley in Monroe. Monroe, what state? I'm sure there's multiple Monroes, because I have a Monroe right by me. I'm assuming we're not talking about the same one here. Oh, we are. Well, hey. Never mind. I am south of Monroe. We'll leave it at that. I'm right by Seattle, so... Or is Monroe south? Wait, hold on. No, Monroe's north. What am I talking about? Yeah. Lovely three-way scrap for P11. Zane Blisket being a bit of a thorn in the side of Anton. Casey trying to make any advantage as well. What's the area code? You're funny. Thomas, I'm only a few thousand miles southwest of you guys. Yeah, America's really big, you know. Anton down the inside of Zane. Too deep, though. Zane gets the switchback and holds the position. Anton under threat from Casey as a result. Casey has a look to the inside, isn't able to make anything happen, though. Anton, though, he'll be over for breakfast. Okay. It's crazy how many Washingtonian people that I've seen in Twitch chat recently. There's a few. I'm surprised, because I didn't think there were any West Coasters even in Trackalicious, and now come to learn they all live in Washington, like right by me. So it's very interesting. There's one that I know over in Spokane, but that's a bit far. Jace Wright trying to get what he can done here, but running out of time to catch up. Well, not catch up, but to overtake Wilson Fernandez. The V10 versus V10 battle seems that it is going the way of the vacuum so far. But Vadik pulling away from both these drivers, it is to be said. So there is pace for that Fuchsia competition, and looks like he may unleash it right now. That's going to be Wilson Fernandez deep into the first corner. Outside line is wide open for Jace, but it's going to be the unfavorable one. Laid on the brakes, makes a lunge, sticking with it though on the inside. He'll have the inside for the next corner. That's all he needed to do. He should have this done and dusted. We're going to remain side by side now, heading down towards Pigeon. Looks like the Audi sticks with it though and keeps the position. Jace back to the outside again with a late lunge, makes it happen, but there's a slight loose end, the back end stepping out just ever so slightly, back onto the throttle, planting traction. He does manage to regain it, and what an overtake from Jace Wright. That was true scrapping. My goodness. And that is the position done there. Jace Wright takes it back from Wilson Fernandez. Big thank you to TJ8268 for the follow, and also welcome TJ in chat. Hope you're enjoying this, catching the closing bits here of the main event Sunday GT3 race. Wilson Fernandez seems to be losing pace. Now, one thing to note, Wilson in the pit stop phase did not take tires, and Jace, he did. Now that may have been the difference. Jace may have that little bit more rubber left over at the end here to get that overtake. Now Anton, Casey, and Eric here, or excuse me, Zane, Anton, and Casey, all three of these drivers actually, no, Zane did not take tires. So Zane, being a bit of an outlier here in this equation, is going to spice things up. And many Lambos and Fiats, says Justin. Yeah, there are quite a few of the, we'll just call it Italian engineered cars, I suppose. I mean, Lamborghini not really Italian at its core anymore, but hey, we'll give it to it. And Steven, you race at Pacific and the Ridge. I don't know where the Ridge, which Ridge? Oh, you clipped it? Awesome. Awesome. But yeah, I also haven't actually ever been to PGP. I used to, believe it or not, work at SciKart. If you know where that is. But yeah, I've never actually been to PGP for racing. I've been there for like the NHRA stuff, but I've never raced their karting track. I do want to. I've got to say, I really want to race it. Silverdale. Okay, okay. I used to race at Silverdale when I was a kid, actually. Been a while since I've been out there. That's awesome. It's really cool to know you're that close, actually. That's really sweet. Casey is looking to make moves, but not looking in the right spots. He's looking in the Sector 3 where overtaking is quite tricky. Let's see if he can make it happen, though, into the first corner. You can see he got a lovely view of the rear diffuser, which he does not want to have, of Anton Wass in front. That AMG is just a rocket ship in the straight line, but the braking for the Lamborghini is very strong. Now running here in engine map 1, that is going to be the minimum engine braking mode. Now, of course, the Lamborghini Evo 2 has a little bit different engine modes than your previous iteration of Lamborghini. So, controlling how much the engine brakes rather than the amount of power that it's delivered. And in real life, AMG rules. I've got to agree with you. I think that in terms of real-life GT cars, the AMG sounds the nicest, and it looks just the... Well, it's the most looking. It's the longest. You got the most to look at, so... And that's way wide for Zane Bliska. Anton gets handed that position. Casey going to be fighting, though, for P11. There might have been a little contact there that sent Anton off. Casey is going to get overtaken now by Eric Gakosian. Eric has joined this party at the end in the doldrum stages of this race. Seems to have come out of nowhere as well, the Armenian. Now, can he hold on to it? Eric battling here with the track, I feel, but also battling with Zane in front. The Lamborghini is going to be getting a bit squirrely here towards the end. Zane, though, on those old tires, is going to be feeling it at this point of the race. Down the start-finish straight. Never thought I'd say this is Porsche. It looks very quick in a straight line. Looking, though, at the timing charts, that is not the case. Christian Rousseau, 21st fastest in a straight line. In fact, 245 kph to 252 kph of Anton, who is currently quickest in that AMG. Fastest lap, though, belongs to Ali Raza, a name that I actually haven't mentioned, I think, since about 20 minutes into this race. Yeah, he's still up at the front, if anyone was curious. He's gone. 15 seconds ahead of Albert Tranghisi. Albert, 7 seconds ahead of Quinn, and Quinn, 2 seconds ahead of Casey. Casey in P4 right now, with Vadik 8 seconds behind, and Jace 3 behind him. So the top 6, looking fairly solid at this point. I don't think we're going to see too much movement in terms of positions. The only real chance is Casey having his way onto the podium. If Quinn has too much of an error with a 2-second gap, that definitely is something that can change here with 2 laps to go. Also, to be noted, Casey last lap was a little bit slower, actually. 0.3 slower, to be exact. 144.6 for Quinn, 144.9 for Casey, and the fastest lap overall at a 143.4 from Ali. A very different pace here at the end. The battle, though, it rages on between P13, 12, and 14. Probably could have said that in a little bit better of an order, but hey. CJ engine also about 0.7 off of Wilson Fernandez. Eric he keeps closing this gap. Zane, I think, is really struggling on those tires. Casey Schutte had a yellow flag briefly. Okay, we're good. I definitely didn't think Casey was going to end up in P6 all of a sudden. Let's see what happened. I think that's Stefania Blaskovic in front. Just a brief yellow flag. Oh, there's the yellow flag. Woohoo, that was very close. Casey, gonna need a new change of pants at the end of this race. Almost went heads first into the barrier. Now this battle continues. We saw Casey Jackman go off track earlier, and that allowed Eric Gakosian through. Now Casey is caught back up to Eric and wants that position back. Eric is not going to give it to him, at least easily. Casey, though, Lamborghini versus Lamborghini, he's going to have to try, and with only 1 lap to go here, actually, they're going to have 2 more laps. Ali Raza is in a position on the track in which we're going to get 2 more laps of racing. So, a bit more time than expected, maybe, for some of these drivers. Now, the other question is, are we going to have anyone that runs out of fuel? Because that's going to be 1 extra lap that some drivers may or may not have expected. Hopefully they did. You always overfuel for that occasion. And oh, Zane Bliss gets off and straight into Eric Gakosian. Eric is a passenger in that collision. Holy smokes. That happened so suddenly. So I think Zane just on the throttle too early. You can see the back end already being lost. He tries to correct it, and nothing Eric could have done there. He gets absolutely tagged. Rejoins in P13. Zane going to be kicking himself for that one and might be receiving a penalty as well. It's very interesting. I don't know how the stewards are going to rule that one, as it was not, I mean, it was his fault, but it wasn't his, if you know what I mean. If you're picking up what I'm putting down there. And yeah, unfortunately, Sword and Keyboard, a little bit different damage model than iRacing. You don't quite see the destruction and carnage that you would otherwise. ACC, more of a game that focuses on the drivers themselves and allows you to, even after a 55G collision with the wall, rejoin the track and make it back to the pits. You know, it's just different. Is anyone better? I don't know. It depends. You know, honestly, I kind of like the way that ACC does it. I've seen both. I haven't driven both, to be fair. I've never driven iRacing, but still, I feel that the way ACC does it is a pretty fair way. Now, Ali Raza has dominated this race from the start. He ended up getting pole position in race 1, drive-through penalty as well at the start. Okay, calm down, Ollie. Let's not pick up a drive-through penalty on the last lap as well. That's all we need. But Ali Raza, an absolute masterclass of a performance. Fastest lap, pole position, and a race win for tonight. Well, at least a presumably race win. Still a few more corners to go. But should be all good to the end here. Now, Ali Raza will be leading our championship still. Is currently in the lead by quite the margin. Skylar Leveringham P2 not here this week is going to drop some points as Ali Raza comes to the line in first position here for round 5 at Hungaroring and race 2. Albert Trangisi 17 seconds behind. He is now just approaching the final corner, turn 14. And, well, with his head held high, I think he'll be happy to take a P2. Wasn't much more he could have done. Just the pace wasn't there. Ali Raza on another level. Quinn Smith will be coming home in third. The number 999 Audi. And the Casey Schutte in P4. Nice job there from Casey. Qualified in P7. Up 3 positions in P4. Nicely done. Now a few more drivers to come to the line here. We see in terms of battling, I think we are all done. DJ Engine about a second off of Wilson Fernandez as they come to the line, and Chronotis a second off of Rousseau. Rousseau took the win in race 1. Is going to bring home a 9th position in P2. Quite the difference. But nonetheless, I think that's a reverse of what Ali Raza did. Ali Raza P9 in race 1, and, well, Rousseau a race win. So, not quite what he was looking for, but brings it home nonetheless. Now, if we can get our top 3 into the green room, we should be able to wrangle all 3 of these guys. As I can just rudely grab Quinn Smith and Ali Raza and move them by myself. I don't really care about that. They'll forgive me later for that one. Trango, if you want to hop on into the booth for a post-race interview, we would absolutely love that. All up to you, though, if you want. We head on back to the booth here. Welcome back, everybody, and what racing we have had tonight. This has been some incredible spectacles, and we're going to get a word from our top 3 here in a matter of minutes. So let's get some replays up in the background while we wait for that. If my game wants to load. There we go. Game has decided to load. But Albert Trangisi, as I said, not quite able there to match the pace of Ali Raza. Just lap after lap, Ali Raza was able to put the times in and bring it to the end. We can get a replay of the race start here in the background. Rusty Plastics didn't do this, or didn't practice either. You guys gotta practice some. Come on. Hey, I understand real life comes and has its issues. Why is Casey in the booth? Casey in the green room. We'll find out. But let's grab our drivers here as we have it. Why don't we start off with P3. Quinn Smith bringing home a podium today. I don't think you can be too disappointed with that result. But nonetheless, I think, fair enough.
Yeah, I can't argue with that at all. Yeah, good result. It was a tough track. It was fun, though.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a pretty strong track for the Audi, no? This track being kind of not the most top speed dependent and more on your punchiness out of the corners. I feel the Audi very much beneficial in that department. And both you and Wilson Fernandez having a bit of fun at one point in those cars. Kind of punching blows at each other.
Yeah, it's really kind of just trying to get every point I can from him. He's ahead of me right now, and I think he had a little bit of damage from something earlier in that race too, so that was kind of helping me.
Yeah, well, nonetheless, I got to say, quite the result. I got a podium finish, never anything to shake a stick at, Quinn. So congratulations there. Of course, also coming up, we have Albert Tranghese, our P2 finisher. Managed to outpace Quinn there, but just didn't have it in the tank to catch up with Ollie Raza, or rather keep up with Ollie Raza. Trango, how did that feel from your end?
Yeah, Ollie's quick. He definitely put down the pace lap after lap, and I just couldn't get any more out of my tires. I was actually overheating my tires really bad a couple times there, and it allowed Quinn to get closer to me, and I figured I was going to be kept honest for a little bit. I actually changed tires at my pit stop to try and alleviate that, and that didn't work either. So,
Yeah, I think most of the top three did end up taking tires. Quinn, if I'm not mistaken, you did as well?
Yes, I took
Okay.
tires.
And I think Ollie as well did up at the front.
Yes.
But so that was pretty consistent strategy for that. I predicted that no tires would be taken, but hey, that's just, that's me. You got to get everything wrong, and that's my job. But also, Trango, congratulations on that P2. Going to be coming back not next week, but the week afterwards towards Spa. I feel like you're going to be maybe a little bit more competitive there.
hopefully, if some of my practice that I did a little bit earlier says anything, then I might be able to have something in the tank, but time will tell.
Let's see. I can't wait myself. Awesome. And then last but not least, of course, our P1 finisher in race 2 with a drive-through penalty at the start of race 1. Ollie Raza. Before we get into race 2, do you have anything, what happened on race 1?
Oh God. I mean, I think I was just trying to experiment something in the beginning. I wanted to try to practice brake boosting while starting, but then I just messed up and sped up too fast. So I just got a drive through. But it was really fun actually, race 1, even though I got a drive through, started from the back. Like going through the whole field, got up to P7. It was a lot of fun. Much more fun than the second race, even though I won. But yeah.
Yeah, second race, not too much happening. In fact, I think I checked in with you about 20 minutes into the race, then forgot about you, and checked in with about 10 minutes left. And, well, 17 seconds was the gap, and didn't see much changing from that. So,
yeah, nothing really interesting happened in race 2. Just got the win, so happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, hey, race win is a race win. Got to say that first, maybe trying brake boosting a little bit too hard in our first race there. Kind of got, you reap what you sow in that case, but nonetheless, good effort, Ollie, as always. I mean, bringing out the race win. No surprise there. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you guys are all free to go. Thank you guys very much, drivers. Congratulations, of course, Quinn Smith P3, Albert Tranghese in P2, and Ollie Raza in P1. You guys are all free to go. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Trango. And, of course, chat, thank you guys for being here. Hope you all are having a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world, and continue to as well, as we are going to be ending the stream here. Of course, it has been quite the race. Thank you, Vadik. Appreciate you. We are going to be rating the young man himself. And by saying that, you immediately know who I'm talking about. It's Jake Wells. Jacob Wells. Young Jacob Wells. Show the series on SimGrid. Yeah, I can do that. Why not? Let's do that real quick. So first off, what he's talking about is, of course, on SimGrid. We have our ! SimGrid. Is all of the events that we have that you're about to see in front of your eyes. We have our GT3 championship that you just watched with not next week, the week after, being at Spa-Francorchamps, and of course, Maserati Madness on the 27th and Max Rain on the 21st of next month at Britain. Also, of course, GT4 Rookie Series and our GT4 Patrons. More on that in a minute. Also, GT3 Reverse Grid. Now, that one is going to be super fun. Make sure you guys sign up for the GT3 Reverse Grid on Thursday if you're available. 8:30 Eastern Time. Most of our leagues are at 8:30 Eastern time, of course, tonight at 7:30. Part of the reason I was late, but nonetheless, big thank you to everyone watching. You guys are amazing. Appreciate you all, of course. Big thank you to everyone for donating, hitting that subscribe button. Just incredible. You guys are, like I said, you're amazing. I just have nothing else to say. You're just amazing. So we are going to raid. What corner is Pigeon? It's turn 4. Turn 4. That one. Right there. But we're raiding Jake Wells, everyone. So let's head on over. Once again, thank you all so much. I hope you all have a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. I'm Mike Nause. Thank you, and good night. And a big thank you to our Patrons as well. All their names on screen.